This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
All right, it's everybody. It's everybody. Welcome to Friday. Opacons.
You know what?
How did
you know
Brisk?
what? You tried.
How did
You
you?
fucking
I
tried.
don't even know.
All right, I'm gonna start the intro over. We're gonna try this another time.
Yeah, let's
it
try
up?
this again.
Mulligan.
From
You
the
get
top.
one mulligan.
Is it up? Because I
I'm
don't see
kidding. I'm
it.
not gonna do that.
Yeah,
It
it's
should
up.
be up.
Very refreshing.
I don't see it.
I see it.
It's up.
Am I just an idiot?
Yeah.
She's going. Maybe.
Refresh.
There's somebody else who's super ratting, so I'm gonna watch that instead while we're talking.
Ooh.
There it is. I
Yeah,
found
at
it.
least they could log in.
Okay, so
Right? Why all the crabs able to log in? I fucking can't.
Yes.
I'm logged in.
I have.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. So it's Friday. It's Opacons. We're here. Rain is back. Welcome. We also brought on November. How's it going, dude? Salmon Shorts.
Wait,
is,
what do you mean I'm back?
Prove
I
it.
never left.
You weren't here last week.
Yeah, I was.
Look at.
Look
at.
Are you serious?
Look at the
Yes, she
shorts.
was here last
there
week.
they are.
2 weeks ago.
Stepped on his chair to do that.
Two weeks ago. Nice shorts.
That was very dangerous. My chair moves a lot.
Yeah, it's on wheels. Be careful.
Yeah, man. It's Hot Wings have shredded my memory.
That was good content.
Oh, I didn't even watch that. How'd that go?
It actually was kind of fun.
Is that why Mannix not here? Is because he killed him?
No, I
Manic
was
did like
surprised.
the Carolina Reaper or whatever, and then like wrapped Eminem.
Actually, his ghost pepper sauce was the one that
And
hurt
Ghost
me
rapped
most.
Peppers?
Eminem.
Yeah.
Is it from the new album?
Yeah, he
No,
did.
the
No, he
old
did
one.
lose yourself.
You did lose yourself.
We all did our hottest sauces and then sang Little Bees, and it was atrocious. But
It was funny.
I remember
no,
doing that at fucking
Leave it
Vegas.
in
That shit was so much
We'd all
fun.
be like coughing and sniffling.
the one thing I did
Yeah,
find out.
Rain had ketchup and she had to take a 15
Yeah, the
minute
one thing I
break.
did find out is that the Scoville level doesn't really necessarily mean a whole lot, because we had that last dab stuff, which is over 2 million Scoville, and that was really hot, but it was nowhere near as bad as that Da Bomb sauce, which was like 187,000. That shit
Wait,
was awful.
isn't pepper spray 2 million?
I don't know. The 2 million, it was made out of that Pepper X. It's like the hottest pepper in the world. Like, it's one of those things where if you eat it raw, you can actually die of, like, it could kill you, apparently. So
How did it go when you mixed them all together though into one bowl?
that actually wasn't that bad, because it kind of diluted the strong sauces with the weak ones. So that was actually not that. That one was just, I could taste the hot ones, and the other ones don't matter. But that Da Bomb
Other
sauce.
ones don't matter.
The worst part about that, like, going through it's like, yeah, your face was sweating
Oh.
and all that stuff, but hours later, and I'm not talking about the asshole pain, I'm talking about like just gut pain. Like, my stomach hurt. It felt like I ate needles for about 4 hours after that stream, so that was painful.
All right.
How was your bathroom experience the next day?
Can we just ban the phrase asshole pain from this show ever again? That's like that scene from Bad Boys 2 whenever he's like, we're just gonna take my mama's titties and your erection problems, and we're gonna put this in our no boundaries box. We're gonna chuck this bitch in the ocean.
Yeah, we could make that rule. No, that was fine. Actually, it was what it was. But anyway, so off the wings.
Do we want to talk about? So I think we collectively raised about like 10,000 Plex. Like, someone sent me S for Plex. I know November donated, Liara donated, and a couple others donated. Like during the show to make us eat food and do challenges. I think we collectively raised like $400. And then I know I want to say I heard the number somewhere. I think it was like preliminary from CCP Convict. He said something like 85,000 is his guess,
Wow.
but they haven't counted it yet. So he's hoping to like count it all and come out with a dev blog.
Yeah,
They got a
Aaron Rod,
shitload
thanks
from
for the,
Scott Manley, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Scott
so-
Manley
Like
is
33 grand or
33,
something like that,
yeah,
wasn't it?
33 grand from Scott Manley and Keelan from the Gold Magnate, and then like at least 50,000 it sounds like from the rest of the players, which is pretty decent.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Aaron
I
Rod,
don't
thanks
think
for the
they-
resub.
I
I
was.
wonder how much that's going to be in actual money. No,
Probably about-
I hope they tell us exactly how much.
Well,
they
next
ended up
week.
They
donating.
will. They're
coming
coming out with
this-
the dev blog.
Coming out this week, they should be coming out.
Are they
with,
actually going to post a dev blog, or are they just going
No,
to?
they're just
They
gonna
told me
update.
they
They're just gonna
were.
update.
They
They're
told
just
me
gonna
they
update a dev blog from 2012 and
Yeah,
tag
Right,
you in
they'll
it.
update the one
Yeah.
from last time. And
Yeah.
Hey,
They'll
guys,
update the last
Peanut
one.
We're
butter.
taking drones out of super carriers, and this is how much we raised for the 2020 Plex for Good.
Right,
There you go.
and then they won't post it or put it anywhere.
Nobody will see it.
It's just
I'm gonna start with a shot though. Were we doing shots for the other thing they had? I don't know.
Can we do shots? Hey, shots for Kobe. There we go. How
Shots
about
for Kobe. I mean, tragic.
Shots for the 9 people that died in that helicopter crash.
Yes.
Death is tragic.
Yes. Yep.
Shots for Eve players saving Australia.
what should we talking about the helicopter crash?
The what?
that? Freaky.
Oh, dope. Okay. I was gonna possibly instigate a little, but never mind.
Don't.
Loss of
Oh,
life
oh.
is tragic.
Oh right, but yeah, that's.
We could do a shot for the Eve servers because they're kill.
They're
Eve
also
ser-
dead.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll do the Eve servers next. Cause yeah, I mean, you want to just go in? You want to just go right into the DDoS shit then? Might as well. We're on it.
I don't.
Why not?
And so they haven't released any fucking news about what this is caused by, which I find kind of interesting. Like, there's no. I don't know anything about computers, mind you, because I'm, kind of retarded. But does it? If you get DDoS, can you trace where it's coming from?
No.
So there is a
No.
there is
Well-
definitely a system that tracks attacks on the internet, and you can see on the 28th if you go to the website, which I can find and link. It's coming from like Russia and South America and all over the world, but it's real bad.
That's the problem with the DDoS is it's a distributed denial of service attack. So it's coming from computers that have viruses on them all over the world, sending random packets towards the UK and whatever server. I guess Eve is being targeted specifically, but what other every other game that's also getting targeted, because I understand there's more than just us. So that's why it's hard. It's coming from all these random computers, and that's why everybody's having trouble logging in, because as they're trying to stop these massive packet attacks, waving in, they're screwing with connections around the world.
The weird thing
So-
that I find is DDoSes aren't uncommon. They're uncommon, but they're not unheard of. They happen, but they're usually fixed within a day. And whatever, I'm not a tech guy, but if they find a way to stop reading those packets that are sending or close a back door. I don't know what they do, but it's been going on for 4 days and it's still going.
It's got to
They
be
haven't
longer. It
fixed
feels
it?
like longer than that. I mean, it feels
Yeah.
like since at
It's
least the
Monday
beginning of this
almost.
week, like
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
I remember Monday and Tuesday it was bad. Wednesday it kind of got a little bit better, and then Thursday it was bad, and today was the worst day for me. I mean, I think I was able to log on for like 5 minutes at a time. One time I was able to log in, do a contract, and then I got kicked off, and I've not been able to get back on in the last 3 hours.
That's
So-
super interesting because I'm like the reverse of you. Mine were like really bad a few days ago, but today I haven't really had a problem at all. My accounts have been logged in all day, so
I've had intermittent issues. Like I streamed on Monday night for about 3 hours, no issues till about the end. I streamed on Wednesday night, same thing, 3 hours, no issues. Now I have no chat, but that's really it.
Yeah, the blackout's back. This is the way they could do it without everybody getting
Right.
upset.
It's just
Hashtag wormholer, by the way. It's
Except for
fucking
it's
normal.
everything.
Yeah,
Corp chat?
blackout's
Nah, dog.
back,
not
I
our
don't need any of
fault.
that. We were sitting there and I had to sign on my Titan back from dropping on someone in 5P, and then I'm just like, here, I'll just drag and drop your name into Fleet Chat. Oh, never mind.
Brisk, that thing you had in the camera, was that your Talos you got?
This is my Talos. I'll show it to you.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Does look they came out really well. Judging by your pictures, and somebody put up a thread on Reddit of them unboxing a tornado.
Yeah, I'm
It
just
looks
gonna-
really
I
good.
will try to. So it's here's the thing. All right.
I'm gonna take the
Brisk,
chroma
this
off
is
of you for a
camera.
Wait,
second.
Brisk. If you
Yeah,
start
take the chroma
moving,
off.
if you start moving around, you have to make whooshy noises, like your ship's flying.
Jebby.
Warp
Yeah.
drive active.
Yeah, okay.
Let
The chroma's
me
off,
see
so
if
now
I
you can
can-
actually see because some of the green was getting clipped on.
Yeah, let me try to fix my focus here so I can get close in. But all these guys, all right. So I posted the unboxing, and obviously, you should have better lighting. You should have better this. I'm like, guys, look, I did the unboxing in my basement. It was daytime. I was standing literally under a fucking floodlight at our poker table in my basement. It was on a green background so that people could see shit. I thought it was okay. I guess, I'm not as good a photographer as I thought I was. But I will bring this in real close to my 4K UHD so you guys can see the level of detail. Like, some of the shit on this stuff is really, really cool.
Did you just promote like a 4K image that I'm broadcasting out at 1080?
Oh, Jesus. Thank you. So, all right. So, if you look closely, like, yes, there are no guns. I know that sucks.
Boo.
I know there
If
are
you
no
got a
guns.
Tristan model, it'd be accurate. So
Oh.
You
It's
don't
very
put guns on your
un-American.
Tristan?
There are no guns.
Because guns
and
don't
that's,
have
and that
yeah.
sucks. But you can see,
Yes, you
like,
can,
look at
but
the
most
level of
don't.
detail. Like, you can see the Galente flag clear as fucking day right there. And this is not a huge model. It's a 7-inch model. So it's
I
like
think it's
twice
about
as long
average.
as Drayden's penis. But it's
Oh.
it's good enough that you can see like detail on there. And it's just cool.
That's cool.
It needs kill marks.
Oh,
Right?
You
I
can,
need to like get little
you can
paint-
add those. You can
little
even
paint things.
add the turrets on there too. You could.
You
Yeah,
could probably,
is
if you
it
should
mag-
buy a
is it
3D printer,
metallic?
Brisk, print some little blasters and paint some little kill marks on it.
Exactly. So
Oh yeah, what was the
you can
material
see-
they printed? Is it like a pewter or is it a composite? Or
This
what
is all right, so it feels like plastic filament, but it's not. It's heavier than the plastic filaments that I have seen from other 3D printing processes. It's heavy. It feels like it could be made of stone. It doesn't feel like plastic. Like I've got Ivy was nice enough to print me a pod that I got back from Vegas, and it's really, really light. This is not light, and you can see in the back, like it's got detail. The engines are like actual, like for a tube here. They're not just like painted on or anything. It's got just all the stuff, the markings, the paint. This thing is shaped into the same base of the base, so I can stick it on this thing and it doesn't fall off. Like that's cool. So I have a freaking stand for it and everything, and it just I was very pleased with this. I like the color scheme. I mean, granted, I would like to have had a better skin than the default skin, but that's not. I mean, that's to be expected. And
you can paint it, right?
In the grill, you can if you want, but I wouldn't. But you can see like that. That's not just painted on. It's actual. There's texture there, and stuff. So it's. I guess I didn't do as good a job as I wanted to, but I mean these are pretty solid fucking models. I mean this is not. And I have a ton of models in my house. Like you guys have seen my office in pictures. I've got Starship Enterprises, and I've got the Talwar and a bunch of other stuff. And this is as good as any of the Diamond Select stuff that I've seen, that I have from Star Trek stuff. And you can put the chroma back on, and it's and in the end, I felt like, and people were bitching, oh, it's $99, that's too much money. I'm like, guys, look, if you buy a lot of these models, and I'm a nerd and I have a lot of models, these are better quality than your little Hot Wheels deals that you're going to get, like your little TIE fighters and shit that are going to be like $10 or $15. It's better quality than you're going to get from something that's like a cheap plastic kit, or that you could 3D print yourself from the vector files, which everybody has them because CP hands those out like they're nothing. So you can hand out those files. You can see 3D print just about anything you want, and you depending on what you're going to do, it's going to be either junk quality, or you're going to have to sand the whole thing down and paint it yourself. And who the hell's got time for that? So for somebody like me, I want to buy my stuff. I don't want to have to. The joy for me is not in painting. If I want to build a model ship or something, I'll do that. But that's not what I want with these. I want something that looks good that I can buy, bring home, sit on my desk, and look at and say, hey, that's pretty cool looking. So that's what these are. And I look at like the Eagle Moss, the little Star Trek die figures. These are tiny little things like this, and they're selling for like $50 each. And then people were bitching about the fact that a model like this, cost $100. And the most expensive one is the gold magnate, or the magnate that they charge $125 for. Everything else is below that. You can buy. I priced it out. You can buy every single one of these models, the highest priced one, and it's less than $600. Now, granted, some people are going to say $600, but for 6-7 models, that's not bad. I mean, you're averaging out about $80, $90, $100.
Models. I mean, you're not going to get. They're not like you
Right.
said. They're not $5 cheap shit you get at Toys R Us or what used to be Toys R Us.
I'm just overall impressed and thankful that CCP's finally fucking selling models. People have been asking for it since 2003, and they finally got around to being able to find a vendor that can sell, and it sounds like really good quality models. So I'm just super thankful for that.
I think maybe it's PTSD from the floating Knicks thing.
No, because that came out a year ago, and
Yeah,
they've
well,
just been deferring.
I'm just talking
ever
about
since.
people not willing to spend the money on it, right?
Oh,
because
yeah, I could see that.
Well, real quick,
Well-
social. What was it? Social obsolete. That's what it is. Thanks for the resub. But I was gonna say, when CCP got a hold of me about the models, they were saying don't mention anything yet because we want to make sure that they are actually made and we could get them shipped before we bring it up to the public that these are coming out. And because I think that was out of fear of the floating Knicks, because they didn't want to come out and say that they had these models, and then if something fell through, they didn't come out. But now that they're guaranteed, if you pay them, you're gonna get it made and shipped. It's not the because wasn't the floating Knicks it was kind of a pre-purchase?
It was
That was
also a
Yeah.
that
party,
was
yeah.
one of those things where they do, this was like a prototype, but they never ended up going into production. So
but they kept
people would put
everybody's
deposits
money.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
they took everybody's money and then they tried nothing, and then they gave no refunds. So
Yeah, that's
look,
no
the
refunds
bottom line
a little
is
silly.
this stuff showed up. I mean, yeah, it took a little while. I think I ordered this before Christmas, like a week or two before Christmas, and it got here, 3 or 4 days ago. So it took a little bit of time, but that's to be expected. I mean, they said expect 4 to 6 weeks, and it was between, I think it was 5 weeks total. So that's how much, how it went. For the record, because obviously everybody's asking me, I bought this myself. I paid the money. No one is paying me anything to shill this stuff. Nobody is giving me any free stuff yet. Although it would be nice if you guys want to send me free models. I'm not going to tell you no. But
Suppose
at the
the
end
show's
of the
getting
day,
a free model.
I bought this because I wanted it, and of all the 6 ships there, the ones that I've flown the most. I mean, other than they have a Condor that's the same model as a Raptor and a Crow, and I fly those all the time because that's I'm Caldari Master Race, so that's my interceptor. But I don't fly it for fun. I don't fly it in fleets. We used to fly Talos in our heavy snatch fleets, and I like that ship, and I got a lot of kills in that ship. So the Talos, that was the obvious one that I would pick.
I
I
love
mean,
the
the other one
Talos.
I would have picked would have been an Oracle, because I love the Oracle. That's a fun solo PvP, glass cannon kind of thing.
Not
And I
flown
like that
much.
ship.
I
Those
used
are
to
the ones that I
rat
like.
in drone regions with an Oracle for a while. That was about it. That's all I flew for.
I would bring those out because it's fun, and I mean that would be the next one that I would buy, would probably be the Oracle, and then potentially I would get a Condor next. We've flown Nagas. I've flown Nagas like 1 time, so I like the Naga. I might buy that. The only one of those ships out there that I have never actually ever flown was the Magnate. I've never flown a Magnate.
Not even as a scanning ship?
It's a pretty ship.
I don't fly them, so that was not one that I was interested in. But I told the guys online, I was like, look, I would love I want a Raven. I want a Raven.
I'm surprised
I
they
want a
didn't make a
Rogue, I want a
Rifter.
Drake. I mean, some of the funny, more like meme ships, I think it makes sense for them to do. You do Drakes because everybody wants to bring their Drake. That'll sell a ton. And I think if you were to do like current meta type
Megathron?
shit,
Blotchy
do-
ships.
do a Megathron, do a
Scimitar?
Skinny or a
Blotchy?
Guardian or
I
I
something.
think a Typhoon would be excellent too. I like the Typhoon.
Typhoon should be
Tempest,
easy
I can-
or not
relatively.
Tempest,
Tell you
yeah,
what, Drayden,
Maelstrom would be
you
great.
want a Typhoon?
I do have a scimitar.
I have a metal
actually.
trash can
Remember?
under my desk right now. I'll throw
Ah,
in a
but
Typhoon
I mean,
for you.
it's a legitimate
Wow,
Typhoon.
dude.
It's not a
I
it's
think-
not a new Typhoon. It's an
The
actual
Tempest
Right.
has
I mean,
such a nice
some of the
shape
ships
to
are
it.
obviously
hell
going
yeah.
to be
Tempest?
easier.
the Tempest.
to
I like
make.
the Maelstrom a lot.
I think
All you
some
have
of
to
them
do
are going
is
to be
sell
easier to make
Tempest
than others.
and
Like
and
Like a
paint,
Tempest, I think that's going to be hard. A Tempest would be hard. I think a
Anything
Nightmare
with
would be
the
hard.
with the solar panel fins will be iffy
Right.
to
That's
ship
why I
and
think
not break.
Immunin would be very difficult for them to do.
Do they offer
But-
a Megathron yet?
Or a Vagabond
Not
would
yet.
probably be pretty
Not yet.
difficult.
That
There's no.
Mega
I don't think there are any battleships. I think they all did battle cruisers.
They did battle cruisers and a frigate for each race,
Yeah.
except for Mimitar got the Tornado and no frigate, which was
So my
crazy.
question is,
Right.
like, because I don't know, because I've not seen them. Like, are the frigates to scale to the battle cruisers, or are they all the same size?
They're all 4 or 5. I think it's 5, 6, and 7 inches, and then some of them are set to different. Some of them you can't get more bigger than like 5 inch or 6 inch, and then some of them you can get different sizes, and there's different price points for the sizes. Like the Talos was in 3 sizes, and I got the biggest one. I want the biggest of all of these because I want to be able to see it. But if you want to spend a little bit less money, you can get a smaller one.
I think it was the battle cruisers you could get multiple sizes, but the frigates you couldn't, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just you're never going to get. It's not going to look right if you have a Talos. It's the
But they should do
The
the
same size as
Vexor
a
or the
Ripper.
Ishtar, the Drake. The ones that are iconic to the game. Why they wouldn't do those would be beyond
Exactly.
me.
I mean, I think that would probably be the second flight. I think they went with ones that they could do that were relatively popular, that were capable. They were capable of doing and printing easily, and that look good enough to showcase what they can do. And I think if they get enough sales out of this, then yeah, they'll add more. The problem is Eve's got so many fucking ships that they have to figure out which ones are going to sell. And that was the only criticism that I thought was legitimate from all the crap that we saw on Reddit and everything was, I wish they had more ships or including ones that I actually fly. That's fair.
Yeah.
'Cause
They
if
are
you're-
adding
I mean,
more.
we all like Eve ships, but if you don't fly them, you're not going to want to buy one.
It's like 300 ships, so it's very hard to.
So that's-
appease
I'm
everyone.
hoping-
That's and
I
plus-
think they'd do themselves a great service if they offered ones like you've got, the nice quality, and also do a cheaper version. I think they'd sell a lot of those too. If they do a little bit less, because yours you said is heavy and solid, so they can do one with instead of being a filled like that, they could do it where it's like where they like the cross hatches inside.
But I mean,
instead
how
of
much
a
cheaper?
filled.
Because like some of these, it's they might be like $50 or $60. Are you
I mean,
really gonna want a
if you
lower
sold,
quality
if you
one
sold
to
20,
save
if you
$20?
sold $20 ones, I bet you'd
You're
sell a ton of them.
Maybe.
There's a lot of people out here that are that are just cheap as shit, and I think they'd buy them. They'd sell them. And really, you can make some pretty good quality ones that aren't really solid. I've got a an Aeon that we made with our printer, and it's pretty good, but it's small, but it's pretty good quality. It cost us maybe like $1.50 to make. So
I have a baby Erebus.
All right,
Oh, yeah,
Tetzel
yeah.
link
I have a
like
massive
the
scimitar.
a Megathron that he did. I'm gonna
Couple
post.
storks and a
um,
Tristan.
Hold on, no, it got blocked. One second.
nice.
I'm
I'd like to see
curious.
some ship scan
All right,
options.
there you go, Tetzel. You got a
Paint-
minute to.
paint
You
jobs.
can link it again.
My scimitar has bloody hands on it that Locoval made me.
I'd be
it
curious
hand
if
So that's
the
the-
more
that's
that
the
people
thing.
buy these, the more like if they don't expand upon the options you could get. So they only have 5 holes or 5 or 6 holes that are out right now. If there's an
Seven.
interest, okay. If there's interest there, I can't imagine they don't expand it a little bit.
Right? 'Cause, I
They
mean,
said they were. I think they're gonna make more because they
Oh, that's
put out
very
that
cool,
tweet where
Ray.
they're saying what ships would
Yeah.
if we had more models, what ships would you want to be there?
right.
And I think
And
that's
and
obviously.
I put up my Raven
popular
and some
demand.
other stuff like that. But Rain has her semi that somebody made for her. I mean, the bottom line is, for the most part, if you
Is this
have
the arts
Eve
and
models,
crafts?
if you didn't get like
I-
that one
I have
run where they
friends.
did,
Oh.
did they do the Apocalypse? Is that the one that CCP did a couple years ago, like an official one? They did an Apocalypse, I think. Maybe I'm thinking wrong, but if you didn't get that, and they're hard to find now because I can't find one on eBay, you're not gonna you weren't able to get any kind of official licensed models. So it was all stuff people were doing and having fun with. And some of the models that we saw, like in Vegas, they would always have ship models. They'd always put the ship models in the silent auction, and they would always go for obscene amounts of money. Like they had a great kick-ass Scorpion Rattlesnake last Vegas that I'm pretty sure I put a $500 bid on, and I didn't win it. So it's if you want these types of models, this is the best chance to get like a mainstream kind of one. So if you haven't checked out the mixeddimensions.com, I say go check it out. And if you're not cheap and you're willing to wait a little while, you can get a solid model, and it looks pretty cool. And hopefully we can get more out of these guys. So check it out.
I think Blazing's right though. If we don't see a lot of them, interest in it, they probably won't expand it or even continue doing it.
It's true. I guess it depends.
Exactly.
I'm just my fear is this is about 2 years too late.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's better late than never, though, right? Because
I hope so.
we always
Yeah.
talk about the need for them to the first argument anytime we get so we can segue into this thing that I can't wait for us to start talking about. Everybody talks about the need for CCP to monetize the game somehow besides subs. And if you can push into that area where it's merch, especially not having merch for like the last 15 years, except for the like what Brisk said, the odd and end stuff they auction off at FanFest. It's a revenue source. Like I'd buy a bigger Erebus or a bigger, you know what I mean? But
how much of a revenue source is it for CCP? What kind of cut do you think they get?
Well, it depends on
what the interest
deal,
is,
I would
right?
think. I mean, I think it depends on the licensing deal because they don't do any of this stuff in house. So as far as I understand, they're always doing licensing deals. So they're probably only getting a chunk of royalties from the company that's putting out the money for this. But I'm going on eBay to try to find these Eve models. Like there's one Raven, pre-owned Raven that's up, and it's selling for $350 on eBay.
Well, I know Polly McCoy posted a link of those models, Brisk. So it has the Tempest, Megathron, Raven, and then what was the other one? Oh,
oh, that's the old APOC too.
Yeah,
God,
so
that was my
old.
favorite one.
Right, some of these are old models too.
Or it had like the big like square notches on the bottom.
Yeah, so like the new Apocalypse is shorter, right? It's all compressed more. But the old APOC was fucking gigantic. It was almost the size of a Mac. And that was back in the day whenever the laser sound effects were obnoxiously like overdone. Like there was at the beginning of the cycle, there was a little bit of a charge effect, and it fired mid-cycle. It was wild, but the sound effect is something I've never ever actually been able to find a sound clip of. But it was one of my earliest memories of Eve. That and some guy AWACSing me in HiSec with his Hurricane because he's an asshole.
Or I like the old missiles. Like people just take the new missile effects for granted now. You remember the old one where it was like it didn't matter if it was 1 or 10 missiles coming off your ship. It was just a ball of light that traveled out.
I wish they would bring back the old torpedo
effects.
Like the one that's
yeah. So I think they were only like that because they used to do AoE damage, right?
Yeah, back in the day. I think I still have a Python mine somewhere in my inventory.
I bought one off the Hypernet. I don't know why.
How much did it go for?
Not much, but it was more than I should have spent for one. I could tell you that. I bought all but 2 tickets.
Were those the proximity mines or whatever?
Yeah, so those are the mines.
Those I remember
if you
listen,
if you listen to anybody tell the stories about those fucking mines, it's you go into lowsec or null and put mines everywhere, and you just go about your business. 2 days later, you'll be in HiSec. Somebody hits your mine and blows up, and you get AWACS by fucking Concord and Jita. And you have no idea why.
Yeah, no, I remember.
And if that's not the best example of postcode, I don't know what the fuck is.
Well, CCP was explaining, they're like, yeah, man, it used to be like the sweet mechanic and everyone loved it, but it made absolutely zero sense. And it was like, apparently it was super laggy and like having to remember where they all were via downtime or whatever was a big.
Well, that was part of the thing was that you could totally fuck up a gate by just dropping a ton of mines on it. And it just made it impossible for anybody to jump through.
I mean, don't people do that now with just bubbles and cans?
Well,
you get in trouble if you do it with cans.
I say think about that same thing, right? Where it's bubbles and cans, but now think about if you touch the cans, you explode.
Honestly, I think that's hilarious. I feel like they need to come back with that and like some sort of more
have it clear at downtime or something.
Yeah, or like maybe
they didn't even clear it downtime.
Maybe you can't
they persisted.
They were persistent
or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was back whenever bubbles and anchorable cans never went away either.
I mean, you could even just.
Oh god, I remember that.
Not even necessarily downtime. It could just be they last for an hour or two and then they go away.
Because that was apocryphy. It was after Apocrypha, I think. Whenever they made cans, like certain size anchorable cans, go away up at a certain time because people would use them to block wormhole spawns. If I remember correctly.
Well, that's crazy. I never knew
that.
That
was in 2010, 10, 9, whatever.
Them years.
Drain, did you introduce our guests?
I introduced November. Dominar has joined us though. I did not mention that he came in.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm not really important.
Yeah. It's just Big D. I'm gonna do another shot. I'm doing like mixed shots. It's weird.
So do you guys want to talk about this this pack thing yet, or are we just gonna say that to the end?
I mean,
'Cause
we
I-
can just say what we were fearing last week has actually come to light. So hashtag fuck the packs or whatever. Except Brisk likes the
I,
packs,
don't know,
so he
I
can
kind of want. I'm trying to
hashtag
talk
buy
about
the
the packs,
packs.
but I don't think we're gonna get into like big fights about this because I think we're all pretty much on the same page.
Well, the
with this.
problem is that the king instigator is not here tonight because he's a giant
Right.
pussy and didn't decide to come on
Well.
the show. So that's, I mean, Dirk is the one that wants to bitch, and mainly he just wants to call everybody hypocrites. So there's no reason. Yeah, to worry about his
I think
opinion,
I
but-
had the most differing opinion, and it wasn't an opinion on the because everyone's comparing selling skill points to being the same thing as skill injectors, and it's not.
No.
What? Because and Manic pretty much the video Manic made was hilarious, and it pretty much lays it right out.
I should have watched it before.
It's
I
so
fucking-
funny. It's so funny.
Wait, can we play it? Like, cause it's actually really good. I put the effort into watching it.
Yeah, go find it and put it on because it's pretty good.
Out of thin air.
You're muted.
No, God
Who's
damn
muted?
it!
Why do you mute yourself?
No, I don't
We
mute
heard you
myself.
in fucking in Discord. We
It's
just can't hear you.
Yeah, no, for some reason OBS, if I don't put my mouse, there's certain spots on the OBS window, but I have to make sure the OBS window is active so it catches my mic, because if I'm doing other windows, sometimes it won't. But if I mouse over certain spots, it mutes my mic, even if I'm holding my push dock. It's dumb.
Dream
But-
goes on a rant, gets
Yeah.
muted.
God, it's always when I'm like
It
starting
is
a
always
point
when you have you're like the best.
Yeah,
fucking
when I'm
rants
just
going,
making
too.
like dumbass quip comments, like it lets me say that dumb shit, but then when I actually have something to say, it's like, nope, fuck you. But anyway, I was just saying, I was just saying, like, they're different. Selling skill points is different than transferring skill points, which is what injectors are. I was just not as outraged by the selling of skill points as a lot of other people, because even though those two things are not the same thing, what they do have in common is you are allowed to apply skill points to your character that you yourself did not have to spend the time training, and I don't like either of them. But the selling of skill points in the packs is much worse. But to me, it's just like I was saying earlier in Discord earlier in the week, it's just a further step down that road, and so it's one of those things where, like, that's stupid. I'm pissed, but I'm not that pissed because it's just like, well, I mean, I saw it coming at some point.
The difference,
I
the key
can-
difference is the transition from what you currently buy with money is extractors, which are worthless unless you use them to skill farm, or cosmetics, right? This game is for the longest time has always been very, you can't use real money legally, of course, to buy shit in game stuff that matters. And I think there's not really, the outrage isn't just solely because of the fact that you can now buy skill points, even if it's only once per pack. The outrage isn't just because you can buy skill points. The outrage is because is this where this stops? Does it go further than this? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what
Does it just
and
become something on
it's
the
a
Fight
blatant backpedal though, right? Is I think right after they I saw all the dev blogs. This was in the middle of the DDoS too, if I remember correctly. They everybody was showed that screen cap of them highlighting where it says skill points will never change from being the only way you can acquire SP is from training, which this is blatantly a backpedal on that. Well, of course you could say
But I
stealing
mean, that-
areas too,
All right,
but
all right. Look, that was 5 years ago that they said that. In fact, it was more like 8. It was
4.
Summer of Rage
What?
stuff.
That
It
was
was-
when they went from. That's when they introduced injectors.
Listen,
That was not 8 years ago.
all right, it was 5 years ago.
No, it
Start-
wasn't.
It was
No.
2014, wasn't
It
it?
was
I think it was
2016.
like 12 years
20,
ago.
all right,
yeah.
2016. Fine. Look,
What's up?
Noisy Gamer, if you haven't seen his latest blog post, it's a pretty good blog post up that talks about the history of them selling skill points and all this other kind of shit. The point being is, after Summer of Rage, and I mean, honestly, I kind of wanted to do the meta show about this because it was, it was one of those things where I felt like people are forgetting the history of how this whole thing went down and why it's a big deal. And I give you guys, I'm not going to, I disagree with you, but I'm not going to argue with you that this wasn't a big deal. I mean, the bottom line is, this is different than what they said. It is an evolution. It is a slow creep of things. But at the same time, it's been going on for so long with so little real rage about it that I can't imagine that they're possibly going to roll it back at this point.
Yeah.
So for me, when it started out, they started out with injectors and everybody freaked out about that, but it became accepted. Then they started doing the skill points in the starter packs, and people really didn't see those unless they were on Steam, because I don't think they were in the regular Eve store. So if you weren't a Steam guy, you weren't playing the game through Steam, you didn't see that these were available. And then they made them available, and then the people realized, wow, it's 1 million skill points for $5, and you do it one time on your account. Well, shit, I'll do that anyway, especially for a high skill point accounts that it's cost prohibitive to be able to buy that enough skill injectors in order to make it worthwhile. So yeah, so I felt like, all right, this train has already left the station. Why is everybody getting upset at this point? Especially since we got upset with the million skill point thing. Rain's point, I think, was valid. They said they were going to stop doing that, and they never did it.
Right.
That's legit.
And this is another thing
and that's the biggest issue.
This most
One
recent one
question.
where these packs came out. Go ahead.
You can only do it one time, right? One
Per pack.
Per pack.
Right, but
Oh,
they
per
say one
pack.
time,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it's one
Yeah,
time
yeah,
again.
one time
the
per
next time
pack,
they
but
introduce
So
another
you can do
pack.
multiple packs on one character
Yes.
of different kinds.
Yeah, of
Yes.
different kinds
Yeah.
of the same. It's
See, I
one
thought
pack
it was
per
only
account.
one shot. That's
One
now I
pack
don't
per
really
account.
don't like it.
And when the first $5 pack for the million skill points came out, what you could do is you buy the pack on an account, put the skill points on a character, then you transfer that character to another account, buy the pack, put those skill points, and so you could essentially put as many millions of skill points on your character, on that one character that you wanted, as long as you had the plex to transfer the character and kept paying the $5 each time. So you could essentially
Now
rack
I
up
like it.
tons
I
of
just like it even
points.
more now. So
Yeah.
for some reason I thought it was like one and that's it. That's all you ever got.
And like I think, and I don't know how common or how much people realize this, but they have the alpha injector. I don't know if people really talk about that, but I think the thing with the alpha injector, so that's like I think it's like a very tiny amount, like maybe like a couple hours worth of SP, and you can buy it for like a very minor amount of plex, like less than 100. I think it's like less than 50 plex. You can only inject it on a character once every 24 hours, and it has to be an alpha character. And so that's like, in essence, the first time CCP is offering like SP for direct money. If you think of the concept of you can buy it via Plex for real money, but at the same time with the alpha injector, because like that, the SP for the alpha injector is not from any player. That was very, very limited, and it was very clearly meant to appeal to like a newer player. Because like as a veteran, and you're like, hey, I want to, get my Dreadnought to 5 or something like that. Like you're not gonna make your character go alpha to get SP to get your Dreadnought to 5 or whatever the fuck, right? Whereas like a newer player, like a newer player is like, hey, I want to train a frigate to 5, and that's like 7 days, and this alpha injector, which is very little amount of money, can use that and really progress in it. Actually, I don't even know if you can level frigate to 5. I don't think you can as an alpha, but beside the point, that's like the first time CCP did it, and I think there was no outrage because of how focused it was to new players and how much people didn't really care, like if you help a new player or whatever.
Sure.
What's the
Wait,
intent
what
of
do you
skill
mean,
points?
Jamie? I'll only work. I literally on alpha skills. Yeah, sure, but you can also only inject it as an alpha. Yeah, but I mean, I just meant it all as an example. But that's what I mean, right? Like an older player doesn't benefit from it. Like you can't really like at the point where you have 100 mil SP, you probably have no more skills that are affected by an alpha.
It
Whereas
lets you
like
get that one skill you're training, like, oh, I'll just put this up to 5
yeah,
immediately because cool, saves me
yeah, and
a
it's
few
strictly
weeks.
towards like new players because like again, it's only like I think like not even a week's worth of SP. And so like most people, especially like younger players, are like, oh my god, this skill takes me a whole day to train. Oh my god, what an outrage. And then they're like, oh, I can use this little thing, just make some money from like running I guess I can't run level 4 missions anymore, but like just doing faction warfare for like a couple hours or whatever.
Can't run level 4 missions anymore.
I know, like,
Ooh.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
like when it was
Yeah.
introduced versus what it is now, right? Like it's changed so much.
Gotta do those level 1 transport missions. That's where the
Yeah.
money's at.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so like that's like the first time CCP's introduced like SP for in essence real life money because it's through the Plex store, but like that's dramatically different than like the whole like 1 mil SP for $5, which again like if you had higher level of SP, it was very easy to benefit from mixing both in-game assets to real life money to transfer your character and get more out of your dollar than it would be to buy injectors, assuming like obviously the money to Plex to get ISK for injectors.
I do have that video ready. We don't have to do it now, but like whenever people are.
You can just do like towards the end.
Talking about
Like,
the manic
I-
video.
For me, the skill
Yeah.
objector thing or skill points, it's irritating. It pisses me off. I'm not going to spend a lot of my energy on it because the fact of life is skill points don't equal skill. And I've seen time and time
I
again
will
people to throw a
argue
bunch of
that
skill
point
points into their
till the
into
end
a
of time.
character, and then they go out there and get a ship that they're not ready to fly in because they don't know what the fuck they're doing in it. It doesn't help them any.
That is
I
one
agree.
of the
And
things
you
That's
were
why I
I've
don't think.
incorrect.
That's why I think it's bad to give it
And
to
you
new
were
players.
Incorrect.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
absolutely
agree with
not.
that to an extent.
You were
because,
absolutely
like,
incorrect.
If you're
No,
talking,
I
stop.
agree.
So if you're
Because there's
talking
certain-
about one-on-one, sure, agree.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about some dude sitting in a mutant where he has to hit an ADC and a fucking F1 and then just be aligned and warp whenever the FC says to do shit, like that's different. Like, yeah, most people out here being F1 monkeys in a mutant or an eagle or an Ishtar are probably actually fucking garbage at the game, sure. But at the same time, you get 250 mutants in the fleet, and suddenly they can actually do some damage,
Yeah.
regardless of how good.
Because
the
lot
if
of
you
those
lose,
guys are.
if you lose three idiots because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, you're still at 246
Right,
mutants.
but
You know what I
the
mean?
thing is, people could say,
Some
"Oh, you don't
some
know what
ships
you're doing."
do not
That's-
take skill to fly.
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
No, I
Fleet
didn't say,
combat
I didn't
isn't
say all
hard.
ships take skill.
I feel like if you're in
like
I agree.
Oracles.
I agree.
yeah, there's various ships that that you need a lot of skill to fly. But if you're just flying an F1 ship in a big fleet led by an FC that knows what they're doing, can you follow alignment commands? Can you anchor up? Can you target? Can you push F1? Like those
But
are
all,
not
all the
hard
alliances
skills.
that are going to fly 250-man fleets are going to allow people into smaller ships anyway. So really, that's kind of a moot on that point. My point is more for the people who buy these skill points so they can get into super, so they can go rat in it. That's not doing them any fucking good because they're going to lose it. They don't know what they're. If you're just coming into the game,
Are
and
they
buy skill
though?
points.
Like, what happens if they go and join one of the big groups, and then all they need to know is can they fucking push F1 to open their Sino-Zero field on their ult? Like, it's the
That's
same
if you
thing.
buy
Look,
skill points for
but
two
guys,
characters, or they might not know that.
beyond-
Beyond, beyond the question of pay to win and all that kind of stuff. I mean, look, from my perspective, I had a problem with the million skill point thing being that cheap. Okay, and while yes, there were there was the whole situation of you could buy this from one account and then transfer the character and buy it again.
The price
I mean, the
points
fact
of the
that
new
they-
ones pretty much make that unreasonable and unrealistic.
It's not reasonable because the price point is different. It's only 250,000 skill points anyway. You can buy 4 packs, but it's
but they're all
going to
different
cost you like
prices.
they're all different prices. I mean, it would cost you
Like $100 to
like
get a million skill
300
points now.
bucks or so to get all of the packs to get the million skill
And
points.
to do
So
that, even if you just bought the $10 pack and then transfer it,
Right.
it's still you'd have to
it's
buy
still
4 of them
it's
to
still a
equal
lot
1
of
million,
money. So
and it's
so I
twice the
think
price.
that
So
the fix to the million skill point issue that we all wanted, I think that's legit. I think they did that. I think we're getting into a larger debate about about whether it's okay to sell skill points directly or give them away or
I don't like
whatever.
that.
And my whole take and I this is what I've said before, and I said it in CSM meetings as well, was the line on monetization for me always has to be something that has a significant direct impact on the in-game economy. And I think of all of the things that they can give away or sell, the stuff that has the least impact is something along the lines of cosmetics, skins, not a lot of impact, and something like skill points, because you generate those automatically every day anyway. Now, yes, you're getting free stuff. It's being pulled out of thin air, but every player, whether you're an alpha or an omega account, you get these free every day, simply for existing. So all
wait,
you're paying
Chris.
for is speeding up time. So I don't see a massive issue there, because even if you're a skill farmer and you are able to extract a little bit more to sell, I don't think it has an inflationary or like a significant impact on the farms. And I don't think the farmers are going to go out and buy this to get a little bit of extra, XP. I don't think it makes their profits make sense.
So the bump
Laura,
up
thanks for the
in
resubs.
So
the types of ships being
curiosity.
bought doesn't affect. You don't think that's got enough effect for that? Like all of a sudden, I got a million extra skill points. I can fly, like you said, the mutant instead of
A
the
million,
Tech
yes,
One.
but
So
not
now I'm
200.
buying these. Yeah.
But I mean, not it's for the biggest issue I could see is when they hand out free stuff, free skill points, especially like a login campaign. In fact, I think you've got a stronger case to make that the login campaigns are more damaging to the in-game economy than the sales of these packs. because
everyone
you
gets
are
to log in,
literally
yeah.
just handing out free XP to a skill
Well,
farmer.
the amount too. That's
Wait,
another
wait,
thing.
can I ask
that
a
was,
curiosity question?
Yeah.
Like super off track hypothetical. So we know like I think the one of the few games now that is really profitable with subs is like WoW. Eve obviously still has subs, but they obviously need other revenue
Is
makers.
ESO profitable with their subs?
I'm not sure,
Elder
but
Scrolls Online?
They're free to play.
but what if CCP went away with subs, so you had no passive SP training and you had to buy all of your SP? Would you continue? Do you think that would be a sustainable model? Do you think that'd be fun and or
if
worth
the skill
it?
points were equal to what it cost to sub, maybe.
Yeah. So let's say like magically CCP is able to find this magical formula where so instead of subbing for instead of subbing for $15 a month, you just buy the SP directly, but you can only buy so much or whatever. I don't know.
See, I don't think that works, because for a lot of us that have very high skill point characters, why would I waste my time buying anything? I mean, granted, there's some things that I want to train, but all the stuff I'm training now is really nice to have. It's not must-haves. So I got 180 million skill point character. Why would I mean, that would essentially be, I could play the game for free for the rest of the time. You know, I mean, so in the end, I feel like part of this is it's the principle of what they're willing to sell and the impact on the game. But at the same time, I also want to look at it from a perspective of what can they monetize to provide them with income that will keep the game going. And if these packs are providing enough interest in the stuff that's in them that they sell well, then that's good. It's extra revenue. That means the servers stay on longer. And especially when we have a lot of people who are either not subbed or are mad about something, hint, hint. We need to find revenue streams so that people they're not focused on the subscriber base, that they know they got money coming in. So I'm not going to begrudge them something that I think is relatively minor in the overall scheme of things, especially since they fixed it from where I think there were legitimate problems. But I mean, we had a huge argument, a huge debate in the CSM about, you know, what monetization is okay, what's not. We had this whole session on it. All of that's redacted, so I can't tell you what we said. Or what we didn't say or what was in the room, but I was comfortable with where they were, and I think the rest of us were as well. But I can't speak for my fellow CSM 13 members, so I'm not going to. But I felt like I was comfortable with it, and I think they know where the line is. But I think it's very hard for them to find meaningful rewards that they can give players, that players think, all right, this is cool, this is gonna entice me enough to log in. And I'll tell you, the login campaigns with free SP, I hit every time. And frankly, when I'm doing it, I'm hitting every time for the SP points, because that matters to me, as opposed to the skins and the other kind of crap that I know there's going to be so many of them. If I don't log in and I miss a skin, I can buy it on the market. It's going to be 10 million ISK. It's not going to be anything of value.
Well, but you just
points
said
I can't get anywhere else.
So I have a question, and it's like you said you logged in every time because the SP matters, but like 5 minutes ago when you were talking about the packs, you said that the skill points in there, like when you're a high skilled character, do they matter at all? So that
if
seems
I have
like
if I have to click a button to log in and I get free SP, I will make it a priority to log in. If I have to pay $20 a month to get some SP, probably I'm not going to do it.
What about the killing spree then? Where you you're out in null set.
That's
to a belt, shoot a rat.
Now that's the thing. I never do. I rarely do that.
I don't think that would be better because it benefits the people that are active.
So you just like lazy, easy XP.
Absolutely, I like lazy. I'm like every millennial out there. I want stuff,
you just go to the character selection screen and you get your skill points. Then you can just close the client if you want. You don't even have to actually fully get into
right. And that's
let
me
ask you this, right?
But I'll tell you, I think the right way to go, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. The right way for them to go is the skilling spree. That's the best way to do it. Because you want to get people logging in and getting into space and being out there so that they can shoot at other people and other people can shoot at them. So if you're going to give out SP for free, like as a login campaign, I would much prefer the skilling spree stuff than the, I can log into the screen, click claim, and then turn it off and go somewhere else. That I think is
so let me ask you this then. It's something I didn't really think about it, but like I agree the whole. I try to do it anytime I can, but it kind of sucks because my for the longest time my Titan pilot has not been able to get into any other ship besides the Titan, so I couldn't do it on that ship, which is really what I needed the SP on. But think about all these ratting bots that, if you can log in, and not only do you, it's kind of weird seeing November get something out of his fridge from here. Buzzed, excuse me. You can not only turn your bot on, right, and make money like you normally would, but at the same time you get a little bit of XP to push you to the next higher ratting ship. I'm all of a sudden not okay with that at all. I don't know if I've never thought about it like that, but the way Brisk was talking about it made me think about it in the malicious sense that somebody's probably abusing this to expand a bot farm, and I'm not super cool about that. I don't know about y'all.
I didn't think of that until you mentioned it. God damn it.
Well,
I
mean,
know.
the thing is, because it's random and it's 10,000, I would be very surprised if
So I
any
thought
of the
about
bot
that.
farmers are using that.
But if you were
because-
going to,
They would make more money, like more ISK, just continuing to bot.
That's- but
24/7
that's my
than
point,
they
though.
would just stop and.
but you're not stopping though. If all you have to do is kill rats, you're doing that anyway.
That's true. I mean, that's completely.
Yeah,
fair.
that's
You're
fair
right.
enough.
So it's
I
just
didn't-
a little extra taste, but I don't know if they're going to monetize. I mean, that's the thing. The bots are really just about making raw ISK. So I doubt that you're going to extract anything on your bot. I mean, I guess maybe if you were trying to maximize.
No, but he's
Well,
pointing
yeah,
out
but
that
it's
gonna
less
have
about
an
the point I'm
extract
making
one
farm
though
might
is
get to
like,
the next- to
say
next
you
better
start with
range ship.
Gilas,
Yeah.
right? And you have a 15 Gila bots. But every day you log in and turn all those Gila bots on, you get your skilling spree because you kill X number of NPCs. Well, eventually you're going to have enough
Now
SP
you're
to
in
push it to the next
Thanatos'.
highest ratting ship.
Yeah.
First, then to Ishtar's, and then higher than that, and then higher than that. Because ultimately you're not only stacking SP because of that, you're stacking SP because in some places you're ratting 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the most extreme case, some bots probably don't do that, but you're also probably buying injectors so you can keep pushing your bots farther and farther and farther until eventually you have like 10 Nixes that are fucking ratting in XYZ region. I don't
True,
know.
but I mean, all right. Look, so at least with the skilling spree, it's once a day. So one day, 10,000 skill points, maybe 50 if you get a lucky roll. I mean, that's in the overall scheme of things. I don't know if it's a huge.
I mean, what is the average of roughly 50,000 skill points per day you get training? That's without implants, I believe. So
Right.
10,000 is what, about
And if they
5
were
hours
worried about
worth
bots, they
almost?
could change the
It's not-
the killing spree
a
thing
couple
to where
hours,
it's
which isn't terrible.
not just any rat. It has to be a mission rat or something like that. If they really wanted to.
Well, I mean,
You
but that's the
guys
other
will-
the hard part is just if you make it any more detailed than that, then it just provides even more barriers for actual real players to go and do it.
I mean, should CCP try to make these events like not catered to bots or malicious players?
I wouldn't say they're catering to bots though. I think it's just an unfortunate side effect
Okay.
because
okay.
so it was one of those things that you have to, depending on the mechanic, I always have a philosophy on whether or not that there's certain things that you have to blame the community for, right? So like Sov is a perfect example. Like whenever they implemented Sov, they probably had this grand vision in mind that this is how Sov fights were going to happen. Well, they don't, because we don't do it that way, and we're the end user. So that you can blame the community for. But the mechanic is there to be easily abused by bots. That's kind of on them for not having the foresight. Like if you know your game has a bot problem enough to that you have a team dedicated to banning bots, you have all this procedure in place to get ridding your game of bots, then you must know that botting is a problem, and maybe making a means to give free SP to people who rat constantly, automated, probably isn't the best means. I'd be very curious to figure out how much the random SP is actually helping new players, because I imagine that's who it was for. You know what I mean? Maybe cap it. No, because you
Right.
can't even do that because some bots are fucking 5 days old.
Well, I mean, look, in the end, and this is something that I think is just a difficult thing, because anything that they want to add in the game to help actual live players is bottable. I mean, I don't think there's any way around, if they're going to do something that players are generally doing anyway, that they want to do in terms of game mechanics. If they want to get players to do it, it has to be relatively simple and not something that is so in-depth and complicated that people just say, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want to do anyway. So that,
Just
of
find a way
course,
to
then
put
opens it up to
captures
bot.
in the ratting anomalies.
So
You know,
curious.
they've talked about that. I mean,
That's so dumb,
it's
though.
I just think it's so immersion breaking I mean, really, your game is that easily botted that you got to put a fucking capture.
I was joking.
You
Don't
can
put
add it, though,
captures
right?
in
Like-
the belts.
Like, let's say a rat warps to your character at 0, instantly scrams you, combos you, and says, "Hey nerd, you can't break. If you type in the secret passcode, I'll let you go. Or if you don't respond in 5 minutes, I'm calling in backup."
I
Right?
Sounds
You know, like,
terrible
it's
I
a
do
and
not
bullshit,
want them to
right?
make. I do
You
not
know,
want
like it's
them
like
to
in the
make any
Expanse, right?
hoops
It's like
to
in the
jump through.
Expanse. No, it's like in the Expanse, you know, right? Where the Mars ship shows up and they're like, "What's the passcode?" And they had to like figure it out and like say it in a
Oh,
normal
yeah.
conversation. But it's like the captcha. That's what you gotta do.
Oh yeah, God.
I'm
I
sure
need
they
to
can
keep
make a
watching that
lore
show.
thing, but you know what? The first time that happens, that's kind of cool. That's 3,000th time that happens.
I
You
was
want to
thinking
eat a
about
gun.
that. Think about the time you warp your fleet to a fucking asteroid belt to get away from, to purge.
And everybody
gets nailed by the
everybody
capture.
gets
Everyone-
fucking
Right?
scrammed by all these
That'd be
idiots. Like,
fantastic.
oh
No.
my god.
Fuck those
Now I
guys.
want it to
Drifters are
happen.
bad.
Now I
great.
want it to happen. That would be fantastic.
That'd be
FC,
so
I'm
horrible.
scrammed by rats. What do? You know.
I want
It's-
them
Oh
to
my
be
God, it'd be
tackled
Make
so
it
that
the
we can
worst
like
ones,
land
too.
on top of them.
Yeah, make it the
You could
worst
put-
captures. The
you
ones
could put
like
Gates
pick
Onion
all
on
the
it.
scenes that have a stoplight in these photos. It's like, oh god.
No, make it
Oh my
one that
God.
people
And
who
then,
are
and then, and then
colorblind can't do.
I end up. You know what I hate with those captures with the light that
Does
screens.
the
I end up.
pole count as the?
But it's like,
Yeah.
is the
Player
pole part
not-
of it? If it's a tiny little sliver on the bottom, does that part count part of
Yeah.
it?
Or
And I
it's
end
like
up
pick-
lawyering the fucking screen to figure out where I'm
Yeah.
supposed to click, and then it always ends up being wrong. So
I always
fuck
try
captions.
to be very precise because like pick the ones with the road and there's like all of them are very exact except for there's that one box that has like 5 pixels of a road in it and you're like, does the curb count as the road? And you spend 10 seconds
if
like
you're
really debating. You're like,
driving,
oh god. And
Right.
If you're walking,
you're
yes.
so afraid of getting it wrong because you think you're gonna get
Well, wait till
like,
you can counter the color ones and you're
Uh,
colorblind. Those are,
There you
Yeah,
go.
I've
That,
had that-
well, that
Do they
sticks
do
it right in
that?
your butt right there.
I don't
so
think they do that
sucks.
anymore because of that reason. There's several games I could never play.
holy
'cause I could
shit,
never get
Noisy
into it
got
'cause I
logged in.
was,
I'm
you
doing
know,
a shot for
colorblind.
Noisy getting into the game. One more boys.
I
There's
logged in
another
tonight
one.
just about 5 minutes ago. I logged both my characters in with no problem.
Hell yeah.
I've been trying to get on for the last.
Let me log the
since
third
we
one here.
started. I want to say 8:00.
Is this where you
and
talk
I've yet to
about other
pull it
games
off.
we've been playing? Because let me tell you, apparently Farming Simulator is free until February 6th. So if you really want to farm some crops in fields instead of space, you should definitely download it. It's on the Epic Store. I played it and I spent my entire night last night yelling at my alliance mates for being terrible at taking care of cows.
A
Is
I
it
never
all
got
a
into
hammer
or
and
what,
nails
like-
is much cheaper, and you
I
can
just
just
went
pound
the
it into your
simple
balls
route.
now because it's awful.
Yeah, I got that game almost a year ago. I never did the advanced animal farming or anything. I was just
Villagers.
plain Jane soybeans till I got enough money to buy another field and then incorporated that and then soybeans and eventually I owned like half the map and I was just doing soybeans. Half that entire map was just soybean fields as far as you could see and it was really monotonous and I stopped.
Rain, we live that. Why would you want to do it online?
That's what I
Because
said. I said I went.
they
Look, I
told
went
me
to
I was
college, so I
kicked.
wouldn't have to be a farmer. I'm
They
not.
told
no,
me I was,
no.
they told me I was kicked if I did not grow corn properly, and I had to stand there and
Are y'all talking about that
on
fucking
which
game?
vehicle was a
I
combine,
swear to
which
God,
wasn't.
DJ's trying to trick me into downloading Farming Simulator. I'm not gonna do it. I don't care if
DJ's
he's watching.
terrible.
It's free,
He
lazy.
doesn't
Just
We
take
had-
do
his
it, dude.
piss.
So,
Just do it.
like one of the inside jokes that we have with Dark Shines is because Dark Shines is Irish. We say he's a potato farmer.
Oh
And-
no!
Tell him
Like,
to download
what-
Farming Simulator.
One of my Sino arts is named Dark Shines Potato Farm, so that I can move it around and make him say, "All right, everybody, jump to Dark Shines Potato Farm." I do it on purpose. It's like a joke. So he was streaming Farming Simulator like 6 months ago, and damned if he didn't have a fucking potato farm, and it was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That's
Wait,
fantastic.
did he make a lot
You
of money
know,
with his potatoes?
and you know,
Oh, it was so
it's
great.
Like anytime you get harassed by something dumb, like so for example, I get roasted 23 hours a day about the fact that so in U.S. time zone, all we have to do is bash structures, and so I get roasted nonstop about bashing structures. So anytime someone's like, "Hey, can you guys bash some structures in U.S. time zone?" I'm like, "Is there literally any other fucking thing I could do?" And I know if you roast that guy about farming potatoes 88% of the time, you know at some point whenever he has to farm potatoes, he's like, "God damn it. I want to do this shit."
Don't let Brisk see me doing this. I
Son
just
of a
finally got
bitch,
into Eve.
potatoes
It has
again.
taken me 4 hours to get into Eve today. I've been
I just-
in the game for
instructions.
5
I literally
minutes.
just
fun.
logged in a third account just now in seconds. Right.
Well, I got the cows fed, watered, and they also like straw or whatever. So I'm not playing
And
Farming Simulator
there you go.
now,
Do
but that's
they-
what I
Connection to the
did.
Do they
server
like
was
straw?
lost. There you go.
Give him some alfalfa.
Give me some alpha. Oh my god. We can't talk about this farming simulator game. I'm gonna leave.
Or if you guys want, I have a simpler but cuter farming simulator game called Stardew Valley. Let me know. I'll start a server and we can all go mining together. It's super fun.
No, I've
Fuck
been.
mine.
That sounds awful.
Fuck, I've been playing a lot of League
Fuck you
again
guys.
lately, and then I started playing Elder Scrolls Online.
You're welcome, Reload.
I played Elder Scrolls when it came out, and I remember it's funny because I thought this is like the best MMO ever. They did everything right. And then I got to like whatever the level cap is, and I started, going to other areas. I'm like, all right, I'm bored. This is dumb now. I'm done.
Oblivion was one of the greatest
didn't-
games ever,
the-
and
Oblivion.
nothing
Yes.
compares to it.
Yes. I've been playing that. Yes.
Oblivion
game?
had such a terrible user
Oblivion was
interface
great. Oblivion was a good
for the PC. I guess there's mods that fix it, but
The fact that you could kill the fucking quest givers and other people in Oblivion,
oh yeah,
that was fucking
that was
fantastic.
Because
idea.
I
That's
played it on
awesome.
PS3
Dude,
originally,
wait till
it
you
was
try
fine. Then I tried to play it on
Morrowind.
PC, and it was terrible.
I played that
but-
before too.
In Morrowind, you had to like read it, and if you fucked up, like you dropped an item or killed something, you wouldn't find out until later, and it's just like, hey,
didn't have a
your
compass
game's
either.
fucked. Good luck.
But wasn't Morrowind the one you like 5 seconds after playing the game you're a vampire and you don't know why?
You're a vampire. and don't know why.
No. Well, yeah, I think that's later in the story. I think that's a spoiler.
I thought Morrowind was one of my favorites, and I love that game.
I love
and
it.
it was so good.
At least you weren't a
And-
sparkly vampire though. That's a plus. I
And
suppose.
but well, it's funny because in
That's fine.
Skyrim, I had one of my actually in Elder Scrolls Online, I got my main character is a vampire because it's like great bonuses for being a fucking vampire. So why would you not want?
But you chose it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't
You'd be
some
playing
random thing where I just
Morrowind, all of a
like
sudden
you've been
you're a vampire. And you're like, I didn't
vampirism.
fight anybody. What
No,
the hell am I a vampire?
The reason why I generally didn't play ESO when it first came out, because I thought I heard someone tell me that it's Elder Scrolls universe stuff, but it's like WoW in the fact that it's tab targeting. Like you tab and target, and you just push numbers to cast spells at the target. And I was like, I don't really want that. I want it to be like Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim and shit, where it's first person and you aim everything.
Like click a bunch and it says miss, 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 miss.
Well, and then I've started playing it, or a friend started playing. He's like, "No, it's like Elder Scrolls." And I started playing. I was like, "Holy shit, it is like Elder Scrolls." It's a little different in that it's not purely aimed. It's if you are aiming and something's highlighted, it will hit them. It won't miss. But other than that, it's pretty much it's Elder Scrolls. It's really fun. I've been enjoying it. Now I'm sure I'll get bored with it at some point, but
Whilst Eve has not been working, I last night reinstalled Portal 2 and have been
Yo,
enjoying
November,
that.
you say the word and we can co-op
I
Portal
don't
2.
think
I'll
I
do that
ever-
shit
That
right
game
now.
You guys
is
have
so
to
much
stream it.
fun.
I've never played
I
it.
have
Stream it.
Portal 2. I don't think I
I
ever
played for like
it.
2 hours.
Me
played
and,
Portal
me and
once.
Redline,
Real good.
me and Redline entertained doing it one day on his channel. Is just streaming Portal 2 and trying to do
Raiden.
co-op.
Raiden, what do you mean try
It's
Arc?
just
I've
so
had Arc.
much fun.
I had Arc
Oh my
since it
god,
was way
can we
back
do
in
an
the day.
ARC server? Oh my god.
I've had Arc for like
Shake.
3 or 4 years. I love Arc.
So hopefully he's
I
watching.
hate
So
Ark.
we
I don't know why
hopefully
you guys
he's
like
watching.
that
So
shit.
so he knows I plugged this
Rich.
server. But Redline just bought a Rust server because I guess he's
No,
sick.
that's- I've
He's
never
sick.
Fuck
played
Rust.
He's
I've seen
he's
Rust.
sick
I've
of us
heard
getting
a lot
our
of
fucking
people
asses
playing
beat
Rust.
on other
Arma
servers.
server,
but-
I do an Arma server, I'll do an ARC server. We don't need a Pornhub server, we already have that as a team.
No, the thing is,
Gross.
Arc
Raiden.
for me,
Raiden
Arc
has
is
an
like
Arc server.
it's like adult Minecraft. I
Yeah, Raiden
I
has
have
an
no
Arc
desire to
server.
fucking play that shit.
What,
Raiden,
Rust?
Raiden, you give me the deets.
No,
I'll log
ARC,
in.
ARC is easy.
Oh,
you
ARC,
you
okay.
punch a dinosaur in the face till it passes out, and then you just slap some meat on it, and bam,
Yeah.
raptor pet.
That's what,
Not-
that's what I'm
not
trying
a-
to tell.
not
Dirk
interested.
didn't get my joke in
No.
the Discord. He was like, "There's this stray cat out there, but we can never get near it." I was like, "Dirk, just shoot it with a trank dart and lay raw meat on it for an hour. It'll stick around." And he didn't get it. I was like,
totally
I was like,
didn't.
art jokes, and he didn't understand it at all. But
So what I have been playing, I've been replaying Kingdom Come Deliverance because I really like that game, and it's really hard. The combat in that game is beyond difficult, and I beat it when it first came out, and then I
Okay.
just like stopped playing it for a while, so I want to play it again. And I like the history; it's a really fun history kind of game, so that's kind of cool.
Somebody talked me into trying the
yeah, Raiden,
Division
I'll
2.
check it. I'll get on tomorrow. I probably won't play it tonight.
Division 2, we played that for a while. I finished that, and I have no desire to play it anymore.
I could see that's why I've just started. Literally just started yesterday. It's fun for now. I can see it getting not fun really fast.
Once you finish the main story and then you got to go back and do it again, that's not fun.
But
Plus-
I could see it would be really cool if that was an open world.
Yeah, I mean, I
System,
don't know.
that'd be kinda neat,
I'm
but-
used to, I don't know. I sound like an asshole when I say this, but I don't like seeing my hometown blown up. I really don't.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
like that shit. Like Fallout 3, I could suspend disbelief because it didn't look anything like Washington other than like maybe one or two of the buildings.
It had
You
the
know, when
Washington
I was
Monument.
So Division's
I
pretty
go
accurate.
through the destroyed part of Fairfax, and I'm like, oh, this
Is
doesn't
it
look
true
like
in the
home.
Division you have to steal the Declaration of Independence? And is there a Nick Cage skin?
I don't remember. I don't think so. But I
Division
will
2,
say,
the map.
but I
is
will
actually
I
say
don't have Matt
that-
Arbuckle.
that Division 2 is so realistic. They did a great job with the way the buildings look, the way the roads are set up, that I don't need to use the map because I can tell exactly where I am in the city just by what the buildings look like.
Seriously.
But I mean, it's that good. Now, once you get inside the buildings, it's not faithful anymore. Like, there's one section near Union Station where my old office building, and I walked in, I'm like, this isn't right. But from the outside, it looks exactly right. So it's freaky. And
kinda-
after
yeah,
a
that's
while,
kinda-
it's like, all right, this is all right. I don't want to see. You know, I ate there last week. I don't want to see that blown up. I don't want to go over here. I remember I was playing Division 2, and I ended up. I went to. I guess it was March of last year, and I went to the St. Patrick's Day party at the White House, and I'm sitting in the green room, and I'm like, oh, this is the room where all of my gear is stashed in fucking Division 2. And I'm sitting here right now, and I was
Looks
thinking,
under
oh,
the
this is
couch
weird.
Did you go and
Is there
check?
a-
Did you,
is
yeah,
there
I
a
was saying,
board
did you go
here?
check?
I was like, hey, where's? All right, I'm gonna go over into this room and see if they have, you know, the listing of where I'm supposed to go the next fucking mission from.
You should.
know?
I would have checked those
So-
the chests on the floor or whatever, just in case. Imagine
So
that.
Z Master is saying he's been playing Escape from Tarkov. I've heard a shit ton of people have been playing.
Is
it.
that
I
any
played
good?
it.
Everyone
really
is
good.
playing
It looks a
Tarkov
lot
was
like
really
Counter-Strike.
hard, or at least it was whenever I played it.
But
Tarkov was
when it first came out, there was
incredibly
problems
hard.
with it, but they
It
got
looks
them
a
all
lot like
fixed. That's
Counter-Strike,
what I
doesn't
heard.
it?
no,
A
it
lot
does
of
not.
the Habit guys are definitely
Or
playing
no,
Tarkov
it looks
right
like
now,
Modern
so-
Warfare. I think is more what I would say it looks like. Visuals. I'm just going on visuals. I never played it, so I don't know how it feels when you play it. But
I bought the new Modern Warfare for Christmas, and I haven't played it yet.
I was
should
sad that
probably do that.
Cyberpunk 2077 got
I'm
postponed.
not a COD fan.
Yeah, push back
Yeah.
for another 5
Halo
months or
fan.
something.
Yeah, well, and in
To buy
about 4
Master
months, they'll
Chief.
push it back another 8 months.
Play
Kerbal Space
play
Program
a
2
lot of
got pushed
Halo,
back a
except for we
year.
do the custom maps. So like we do NASCAR and shit, where you stay in a tunnel and warthogs fly at you at like Mach speed. It's really fun.
There's this
Dude, I
really
love
cool
Halo.
game that I've been waiting to come out. It's supposed to be coming out, I think, pretty quickly soon here. It looks really, really cool. It's by one of the guys that I really like. It's called Star Citizen. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of
I've
it.
been playing the shit out of that. Yeah,
I think
I
that
love
has
Star
to
Citizen.
be-
Supposed to be out
Chris.
soon, right?
The content they have
2
in
more
there.
decades.
a lot of shit.
2 more decades, Brisk. You might have a beta to play.
There you go.
I'm gonna do a shot. I'm gonna do a shot to the Spitzer Space Telescope. It got retired yesterday. I'm not gonna go into my space talk rant.
They
Don't worry about it,
crashing it?
Brisk.
Wait,
That's
wait.
all I'm
Come
saying.
on, no,
It's
we're
gonna
in
happen.
Space Dot. Space Dot.
Retired
Space
is
Dot.
in-
Gonna
Space
happen.
debris,
No,
or is it
retired is in
crashing?
they just turned
No.
it off. Most of the
They're just leaving it out there.
Well, yeah, they can't deorbit it. I'm sure they
Oh.
would if they could, but they
All of
don't
our
have
stuff
the-
turns into trash.
You do
Rain.
not
You know
want
that.
orbital trash. How
It's
the
a
fuck are we
giant-
gonna escape our stupid
it's a
planet?
giant
Rain, this
fucking
entire planet
Interesting you
is
bring-
surrounded by orbital trash.
Interesting
I
you bring that
know.
up.
And you
that
know
they're
what? Boomers
I did
are
do a
killing the,
paper on
not economy. Well,
Rain,
the
rain, rain,
Oh.
the
rain, it's-
environment. How are we gonna escape on spaceships with
Rain,
orbital
rain.
trash?
It's like the size of a car.
You
It's-
just
it's a
fucking fly
huge-
through it, you know?
It's a huge
Make
piece of
the
space
spaceship go
debris.
fast
that-
enough.
No, it's a huge
That's how
piece.
Sandra
Rain,
Bullock almost died.
it's a huge piece of
Sandra
space debris.
Bullock
They can
almost
track it,
died.
I
and
know.
it's
Have
a-
you
It's
ever
tragic
seen
she
Apollo?
Wasn't
It's
that
one
such
of the
a good-
least of their
Gravity was
worries
such
as
a
far as
good
space
movie.
debris. They are
Oh.
not worried
Gravity
about
was such a
giant
good
pieces.
movie.
The
Terrible
space
movie.
debris they're worried
It was a
about are things that
great
are smaller
movie,
than a tennis
Dom.
ball, but bigger than a marble. Those are the things that they
Brayden,
can't track
it's still
that are dangerous.
Spooky, okay?
No, they
My
can totally track it and
non-children
maneuver
need to be
everything
able
else
to
around
escape
it.
this shitty fucking planet.
All right,
No,
I'm
finally,
taking a
guys.
shot. I'm
Yeah,
taking a
take a
shot
shot.
right now.
Goodbye. It's
Do
one
all
of the
the
great.
Eve
Cheers
servers.
to you, Brisk.
Yeah, it was
Because
one of the
they're
4
all
great
damn
observatories.
bugs.
2 of them are gone now. We only have 2 left. Hubble and Chandra are the only ones left now.
Where does Chandra look?
Got to the Hubble for fucking
Chandra
sticking
is,
out this long.
Chandra's an X-ray telescope. Spitzer that they just turned off was an infrared telescope, and
Infrared
then Hubble
telescope,
is
yeah.
Elliot
Hubble is
Spitzer?
visible and near infrared.
So do they have the
Anyway.
intention to put another infrared telescope out there?
They're putting the James Webb telescope up whenever. It was supposed to be up like years ago, but it's probably gonna be another like 3 to 6 years till it goes up. But it is going to go up, and it's going to be way more powerful than Hubble, and it's going to be infrared, and like it's going to be like in the infrared spectrum and like visible and like up to ultraviolet, or I think it's like slightly visible, but it's going to be mostly an infrared thing. But they're going to be using that to look at essentially like look way back in the past of the universe to see galaxies that are billions of light years out there, so they can look basically billions of years in the past and try to see the formation of early galaxies and essentially look at all that kind of stuff.
This is one of the things that drives me crazy with all of the the radio telescope shit and everything like that. We're out there listening to all of this stuff and looking at all of these planets and stars and everything, but we're getting light that was transmitted like thousands of years ago. It's finally arriving here, so we're not even seeing shit in real time. So we have no idea what the hell's on any of these other planets.
The sun, we're not even seeing in real time. If the sun exploded right now, we wouldn't know for 8.5 minutes. Everything would be going fine until then, and then we'd be like, oh shit, and then die.
Wild.
So I've always wondered, like, it's like, come on, guys, this is just, this is nuts. I always laugh about that stuff.
No,
I
right
really
now,
expected
right now,
we're
we're
gonna
in
hear-
the wall.
Isn't it interesting to
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened in the past in the universe?
Well, the thing is,
you can
all
see
that
what's
stuff,
happened
Like,
historically.
yeah, I think that stuff's cool, but I mean, when we're looking at stuff that's millions of years old, and
but it
you know,
gives
that's
us
why I think,
knowledge on
that's why I think it's a
how
joke.
stuff formed.
That's why I think it's a joke
And how things work.
with all these people talking about UFOs and other kinds of shit.
You know why aliens haven't contacted us, Brisk?
Because they're
Because
too
of
far
that
away.
mentality right there.
You want to
No,
know why?
because they're
You want to know
too
why
freaking
aliens
far
are
away.
Like,
fucking
oh my God,
Friday,
these
and they've
sick
gone, look at these
idiots on this
idiots.
show.
So
They are
I watched
too
a
far
really
away.
good video one time on a theory called the Great Filter, which where all of us should hope there are no aliens, because at some point there's like a multiple great filters in life or in the development of complex life, and you have to hope that we've passed it miraculously. Otherwise, it's in front of us and it'll be the end of our species. So like, the development from single-celled life to complex life is a filter, and then from complex life to
Nuclear energy.
intelligent, no,
I'm
not
the
intelligent
filter.
life, like from the animals to
Sentient
big
life?
brains, because big brains are energy
Sentient, I
intensive.
guess?
Yeah, kinda. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And then you master your environment, master energy, and then what's the word for where you stay inside your solar system? Stellar?
Interstellar. No, interstellar is outside. So
Intrastellar.
Intra.
Yeah. So then
Intrastellar,
then the next filter is intrastellar, and then it's interstellar, and then so on and so forth. So the idea, the theory is that if we ever find A, aliens, or B, alien civilizations, it means the filter is in front of us and it spells the end of the end of humanity. But if you
Depends
go
on-
to all these planets and you don't find anything, that means we passed the filter that stops all other life from developing.
it's
But
Which
does
is
that
really
mean
good
why-
video.
Why would there not be more than one more than one life
I'm
planet?
not saying
that
there
made
was
it
no
past the
life
filter?
ever,
It's
but you
called
hope.
the Fermi
but-
paradox. I
Yes.
just posted
The-
a link
there's
which
the-
got
yeah.
deleted.
yeah.
Drayden, repost November's link.
So it's
hold on,
basically you
November.
hope that at some point. So Mars is a good example, right? So Mars may have one potentially point
November.
had single
Go ahead and
cellular
repost.
life, but the filter for Mars was the development from single cellular to multicellular life to animals or fish or worms or whatever.
The thing
That was the filter there. Or you hope that in, I don't know, fucking planet XYZ 300 billion light years away, that their filter was the development from complex life to big brains. Because if that was their filter and they never got past that point, we're just going to find a planet full of animals or dumb creatures. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
So that's
my
where
whole
you.
take on this whole thing
Yeah.
is it's just at the end of the day we haven't seen any of these things because everybody kind of started at the same rate or right around the same time.
Here's the
So there's not even if they were smarter than we were, or they were able to harness their environment better than we were.
the thing
Still,
with aliens.
We're not going to be able
is-
to see that for another.
think about so unless some
Guys,
aliens-
this is an Eve show, but there's no fucking Eve because it's DDoS.
No,
so we're just
can't
talking
talk
about shit. It's
shit.
called open comms. Jesus Christ!
No,
stop
hold on.
lying.
It is an Eve show, but this is still sci-fi.
We're talking about like the Jove.
We're
right
talking
now.
about
The
space shit.
Triglavians, okay?
We're talking about space
Are there
stuff.
Jove or Triglavians in your life? Who the fuck knows? We don't know because we aren't even Eve players. We're not fucking
Okay,
Glenn or
but
Mimitar or
hold on.
whatever.
So the thing
And
with
don't
the,
ever eat
Go
your
on, Trayden.
fucking grilled
I'm just
cheese
saying, like
with ketchup.
it's
That's
okay,
wrong.
Brisk, if
That's
one
mitten,
person
you
got
can
mad that we're
ignore.
not talking about Eve.
You do what you want.
But what I'm saying is,
damn Pan
with
Fan
aliens
people.
is or anything like that. How long has our civilization actually had the ability to, record and detect communications that could come from space? A few hundred
Since
years,
the Less
than 100 years.
100 years.
Since the radio. Maybe
I like to think.
was the
of,
radio around before 1920?
So think about so radio waves travel at the speed of light. 100 light years out, there's not that many stars. There probably is not any life-sustaining planets, or probably not very many, and the chances that those formed life in any way and found a way to make radio transmissions and send them are next to nil. And even if they did, so the thing is that you have to look at a galactic scale or an intergalactic scale, a universal scale of, even with the small chances of life forming, you have to also look at the time. There could have been super intelligent life forming near us 2 billion years ago. That was 2 billion years ago. How the hell would we wouldn't see it at this point, unless it was 2 billion light years away. But again, even if there was only one intelligent species that formed in one galaxy, or in each galaxy, that's like hundreds of billions of stars, which probably has trillions of planets in that galaxy. And if only one sentient species is formed in that single galaxy, there's still hundreds of billions of sentient species in the universe, in the observable universe, because there's hundreds of billions of galaxies, but they'll never, probably ever come in contact with each other.
So
The chances are like are pretty much almost infinitely minute. So
just
that's,
for
that's that.
context, according to the internet, there are at least 76 stars within 100 light years.
Type
That's
A
not
stars.
many,
Type A stars. Type
Yeah,
G.
yeah, that's-
Type G. There's hundreds.
Right. So
but that's not many.
It's a type A
so
star.
basically,
like a type A personality.
there's maybe
No, it's like an alpha star.
100 potential systems
So like it's
that
all
have
the
planets
chicks
that
and
could
like
Yeah,
football,
support
exactly.
life
Yeah.
They've
that are
checked.
Plays
within
football,
100
plays
years.
baseball.
goes
So
to college and
Place to
maybe
bro out.
in the next 20, 30 years, we might start being able to get radio waves that they started sending out in the 1920s.
yeah, and then for us to
Maybe.
reply, it would take just so if it took 100 years for it to get here, it took another 100 years to get back, and
you know what
What's
they're gonna
that-
say when they
what's
hear
that-
our radio waves? They're
But
gonna
what's
be like,
that
bro,
probe? What's that probe they sent out that has the golden disc
They're
with
gonna hear
like?
Kesha
Voyager-
songs.
Voyager
That's
1.
what they're gonna hear.
Voyager
Yeah.
does.
yeah,
Think
Voyager
of. I've
1.
always wanted to listen to all the music they put on the, or all the things they put on the Voyager probe.
They put a bunch of stuff on there. I forget exactly. I think they put some Mozart. They put a bunch of different things. They put some.
Yeah.
I think they put the Beatles on there. I think they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. And they put a
Think of that though.
ton of stuff.
Think of how different the world is from the time when they sent that probe out.
There's a crying baby on there. Why would we send that? That's going to cause them to come to annihilate.
No,
our
no, no.
planet.
Because what we went,
Like, we
what
have
we
to
sent them
silence
was
the evil.
what we sent them was like human anatomy and saying like this is who we are, and so a baby
It's-
is one of that, right?
They
Like,
didn't
we-
put
like
the
when you-
Beatles on there. The only thing that they put on there that
that's
was
only if they
modern
can play
music,
that
they
doesn't-
put Johnny B. Good on there.
It was a disc, but
Go,
It's because
Johnny,
they
go,
would
go,
know
go.
at that point that we would have mumble rap.
yeah, they would have to be able to play it.
Otherwise they
That's
would have
the
put
other
that
thing. And then they have the disc with the
They would have
images that
never
shows
sent anything.
it has a male and a female form for anatomy, but it's just basic like rough anatomy. And then they have like it looks like just a bunch of weird starburst lines coming out, but essentially that is a map
Or
to our
coordinates.
system. It's a coordinates, and they're based on various, I believe, pulsars. So again, the any aliens that picked up would have to figure out like, okay, they mean these are pulsars, and if we find out what pulsars those are, and if we triangulate them to the spot, then they can find us essentially. But
So to satisfy the nerds who are asking about, I say nerds as in an endearing way, not an insulting way, who want us to talk about Eve, we can sum up everything that's happened in Eve that I know of in the last in like 5
cannot
minutes or
connect to
less.
server.
Yeah, cannot connect to server. The GOTG
connection was
staging
lost.
iHub, the GOTG staging iHub and CH3 died. And
Chat channels aren't working.
chat channels aren't working, and PamFam anchored to Keepstart. There you go, you're caught up.
Yeah, I took shots earlier.
Goons
I'm
are deploying
currently-
north.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and goons are
currently
deploying
killing,
with,
yeah,
with
NPCs
armor
and
typhoons and
ZXA.
sacrileges, unironically.
Oh, really?
Sacrileges?
I love
Armor
it.
sacrileges, heavy missile armor
Wait,
sacrileges.
what logi are they using?
I'm a
Well,
genius.
probably fucking garbage.
Guardians.
Excuse me.
Guardians, I would hope.
Who the fuck let him on here?
Y'all did.
You did.
We encouraged
Shame
him
on
actually.
me.
We actually roped him in. We're like, you have to do this. He's like, I don't know about that. We're like, no, you have to.
I don't want to. Now you're on the show. You host.
There you go.
I'm currently successfully killing NPCs in ZXA in my Thanatos. So
Oh yeah,
Use
so
your
so that's the
Thanatos
thing.
to,
Corps are waging war through the lag. Trying.
I was gonna say, does
It
anyone
sucks.
in
I
chat
mean, look,
have like any
this is-
stories of them having
this
any
is-
success during the DOS?
This is part of the I mean, this is part of the problem. You know, and this is one of the reasons why we haven't had a big, real Titan fight since like X47. When the server shits the bed, when you don't know what the servers are going to do, when you can't be sure that your fleet's going to stay logged in when you do certain things, you're not going to take the risk to put it out there. I'll be honest. I've
Why
been
not?
on one fleet. I've been on one fleet this week. We went up and we tackled a fraternity Rorqual, and then they jumped mutants on us, and I got headshot in like the first 10 seconds. I was the first one that died, and that was it. I think I've played Eve for a total span of 10 minutes in the last 5 or 6 days, which is the least amount of Eve that I have played since I was banned last February. Or whatever it was, March, April. Was it April? I don't know.
It was like March into April.
Anyway,
So here's the question.
This is the least amount of time that I've played. So I'm kind of jonesing to play the game, and it's annoying the shit out of me. So whoever's DDoSing the server, I'm sorry that I don't know why you're pissed off. My only guess is that it's somebody that was an RMT or that got banned. I'm sorry you got banned. Can you please stop fucking with my hobby? Thank you. That's my request.
You just
Please
bought another week of DDoSing right there.
stop.
Yeah, way to go, Brisk.
Please stop.
So this is the question I wanted to ask. I brought it up whenever we were talking before the show started. So it's been tossed back and forth about how attacking, since you said this, yeah, we're fighting a war through a DDoS. Yeah, we are, because as much as I hate to compare Eve to the real world or fighting actual conflict on the planet of Earth, is you can't stop fighting if it's raining or there's a thunderstorm. So you can't really stop if there's a DDoS here. But I open this question to everybody here: should the servers, if you can't guarantee an equal login opportunity for everybody involved, should the servers stay up?
Well, wouldn't they just shut down through like gigantic Titan fights, because you can't guarantee that there either? Everyone just fucking logs off.
So not
And
necessarily.
But if they
I
shut
mean,
down the
no,
servers,
what do you mean
wouldn't
not
that be what the
necessarily?
people
Like,
DDoSing want?
people randomly disconnect. Like everyone doomsdays a Titan, and then half the fleet disconnects. Like, it happens to
Right.
both sides.
So
You
I will
can't
say-
guarantee
I
a
will
fight
say-
there.
It sounds good in theory, but if you do that, then it sets a precedent of saying, "Hey guys, we
I'm just
can't
quit-
match the enemy fleet. Let's cause something to make the servers crash." Then the servers will go down,
Which
and
people do.
No one will do.
That's a common thing. It used to be a lot more common in the past, but so like there was a Keepstar that they anchored. Fuck, I cannot remember where the project management
Project-
Keepstar was.
Yeah. I
But
know what you're
somebody did eject quite a few noob ships out to try to
They were
lag the server.
subsequently punished
Yeah.
for that though.
So, but that's not what I'm talking about, though.
Well, I mean,
so
last-
to
in
address what
X47,
November
we
said,
had Horde coming in with a bunch of burst jammers on fucking interceptors. They did.
I was just gonna say
everybody-
that, yeah.
People do that
but
shit.
but
Burst jammers have a point,
tie-dye is
though.
intended to counter some of that. But if you're just talking about someone making it to the point where the login server doesn't work anymore, right? I'm not talking about 5,000 people in one system and it makes the game slow down. I'm talking about we're getting DDoS currently. I have my Sov and Tosis, and half to 3/4 of my members can't log in. So now I have to fight. So that's more of what I'm talking about. I'm not really talking about heavy load fights, because there's mechanics in place to try. Don't get me wrong, it's not always successful, and a lot of times it sucks. Which fighters are the reason, by the way. I'm talking about, like, in this instant right now, should the servers be up at all?
I would.
Would
I
that
would
fix
say
things
if
though?
you-
That's
with the
I mean that's
DDoSing?
a hard thing to say. I mean, my take on this, and yeah, people are asking, well, am I going to get my money back because I wasn't able to log in? Guys, this is not CCP's fault. All right, somebody is actively fucking with them, and I don't know. Look, I asked Convict. I said, is there anything you guys are willing to say on the record that you can tell us? And he said, I don't know whether we're going to make a statement. I will let you know. And I haven't heard back, so I'm assuming they're not going to make a statement.
They need to make a statement.
My thoughts is
But
go
it's just-
ahead,
it's-
Bryce.
but it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I don't think anybody should be asking for their money back or asking for free stuff. This isn't like the chat servers where they made a choice and it fucked it up. This is somebody actively trying to. It's what I would call a force majeure. I mean, this is somebody fucking with the game outside of the game. It's not CCP's fault. Their DDoS mitigation is doing the best that it can, and frankly, the fact that some people can even log in demonstrates that the DDoS stuff that they do is working. Because if it wasn't, nobody would be able to log in at all, and there'd be nobody on. But still, I mean, look, there's 14,000 players on at 10:30 on a Friday. There's something fucked up, and stuff is happening. So I'm not going to blame CCP for it, but I will say, look, it drives me crazy. This game is more than a game to all of us who play it, and those of us who do these shows and who I mean, right now we're in a big debate on whether we even do the meta show tomorrow, because There's not a lot to talk about because nobody can log in. And because we don't have any official statement, we can't. I don't want to spend the whole show speculating on who's
Brisket
doing this and
DDoS?
why.
You getting DDoS, dude?
Brisk, you're
No,
getting
I
DDoS.
can't
Oh
log
shit, you're
in.
talking.
I've been
You were
trying.
lagging.
Dude, you
Brisk,
can't
your
talk about
audio
the
is breaking
DDoS
up.
so
Chad's
you get
getting
DDoS.
Am I getting
Oh,
DDoS now?
yeah.
So there you go.
Oh
You never
no,
know.
okay, it's good
Trader,
now.
what did you want to say? What did you want to say?
Oh,
Trader?
no,
It's just frustrating.
I was saying that I think they have to keep the servers up because if no other game company is going to completely shut their servers down because someone DDoS, then they will try to fix it. And if their servers go down because of the DDoS, they'll try to bring them back up. But if they're getting a DDoS and the servers are getting chunked but not completely turned off, they won't take those down because they're going to try and fix it. But also, here's the thing. So 14,000 people online right now is a really low number for a Friday night, but it's not zero. And
Right.
it's about half. So half the people are able to go in, and I'm sure that the people that do get in, it's a shitty experience, but you can't cater the entire servers because nullsec is going to have issue with a fight because the majority of people playing aren't in those nullsec fights. They're going to be doing their stuff in highsec, doing missions, doing low-sec faction war. They're going to be doing all that stuff, and so you can't completely shut out their gameplay because nullsec's battle is going to have problems and be unfair. Is my opinion. You can't shut the whole game down because one area is having issues that will cause potentially bad results.
So I would agree up until the point where there's a difference. The key difference between null and highsec is things that happen in nullsec are as permanent as you can possibly get in a video game, right? So somebody said it in chat. Since the DDoS has kicked off, there's been 2 keep stars that have anchored that had no chance of being opposed because half the people who would oppose it couldn't log in. You had the one in Secede by Siege Green, which partially you can blame on the fact that all of us were fighting up north, and then you had the one in NCG that we anchored that was not opposed for any number of reasons. You could blame that on the DDoS too if you like. Not only that, the staging iHub died, a Goon Fortizar died, and all of this other stuff. And if you get to watch the pings from all these multitude alliances, like some of us do, I can tell you that everybody is impacted. There's not a single alliance who's like, I don't know what's going on. All my guys can get in just fine. And so that's more of what I'm talking about. Yeah, sure, you can't rat in highsec or you can't do missions in highsec for a week, but ultimately, is that where you're making your money? I don't know. That's why I pitched
wars
it.
that are just as permanent as nullsec wars.
Right.
Still lose
Highsec
structures
So
in
this
highsec.
is why I wanted to pitch it out, because there's probably a lens of this that I or a lot of people don't see. To me, I honestly don't think that having the server up at all is worth it.
Yeah.
There's some good points were raised in chat. That one of the points was that if you take the servers down, the people who are doing the DDoSes, they're winning. It's like the terrorists, right? If you if you stop eating pork, the terrorists win. So you have to eat your bacon. So you need to keep the servers up in order to fucking prove that they're not affecting the fucking service. The other part is if you take the servers down, you can't test the servers. You need to test them with a load so that the mitigation services can be tested. And if the fixes work, then everything's fine. If you take it down, you can't test it.
So let me offer you a counterpoint that's maybe not as drastic. So should you be able to attack and destroy player-made structures or SOV right now? Should ADMs be effective, or should they just freeze?
I mean, look, the
If you
thing
say
is,
that, then why not? Should you be able to PvP?
but the point, what I would say to that,
But they're
Tony, is that
replacing strips right now. If you
the
lose
problem
anything
is
right now,
Are they?
Alright.
Because they've said they won't ever replace anything in Abyssals, no matter what. But now they're also saying they're
Oh, they are.
replacing quote unquote everything. So are they actually replacing stuff in Abyssals? Like that was my
So-
question.
Here's
like,
the
It's
here's
not
the
a
thing.
flat-out
I think
replacement,
I don't
it's
know
that
what
you
they're
have to
going
ticket it.
It's hard to say what they're going to do because this is a unique situation that is not standard. So this is an outside active attack on the game, and I don't know. And frankly, I have not been able to get a straight answer if this is targeted to Great Britain because of Brexit. Is it targeted to Northern Europe just in general? Is it targeted on EVE specifically as a game? Because I've been seeing reports that other games are having the same problem. I understand. I think it was Modern Warfare. I think was having problems like this. I don't recall a DDoS this bad before. We've had DDoSes,
Yeah.
but they typically last maybe like
this is the
3 or 4
worst one
hours.
that I can
they're-
remember.
even like a
It
full
has not
day,
been like a
but
4 or
I've-
5
I've never seen
they're
a
having
multi-day.
DDoSes, but not like to
I've
this,
never seen a
People-
multi-day
Right.
DDoS like this before. It's
People
pretty
will-
unprecedented.
Yeah, in the past, people actually have DDoSed like TeamSpeak servers. So rather than DDoSing Eve, they will target like enemy like TeamSpeaks or I guess Mumbles or whatever, like anything along those lines. So those
which
have
is
happened.
why
which is
I think Eve is
different.
just collateral damage. I think because I've
Right.
seen all the shit posting that's gone on, and everybody's saying everything from Siege Green, the Koreans are DDoSing so they can anchor the Keepstar, or NC is DDoSing so we can anchor our Keepstar, or Sword is DDoSing, just all this fucking nonsense. And I don't know how much of it's serious, but I can honestly tell you, I think Eve is just a collateral damage because somebody just said generally a botnet of this size required to accomplish a DDoS of this severity requires months of planning. I don't know anything about cybersecurity. It's not my field. I can tell you all about human intelligence until you go deaf. However,
Do you want to know about the biggest DDoS ever? Was done by a bunch of kids in college using the quote-unquote Internet of Things because nobody changes the default admin usernames and passwords on their appliances. That was the biggest DDoS ever. Those kids were subsequently caught by the FBI, and now I'm pretty sure they're doing time and or working for the FBI.
So they were
Exactly.
DDoSing people from their light bulbs.
That's the worst.
They were literally college students, like, fixing this program, and they're like, guys, we want to run our Minecraft server, so let's just DOS the other Minecraft servers. And it got to the point where giant corporations who provide, quote, DDoS protection, like, a company CCP would be working with, were flat out declining. They said, hey, that was called the Mirai bot, based on the TV show Mirai Nikki, which is Future Diary. So they would say, no, we can guarantee against any DOS attack except this. We are not going to protect you against that. And that was done by a bunch of college kids being bored as fuck and a bunch of idiots across the world.
They named their DDoS after.
It was literally named
After
after
anime?
Yeah.
I wish I was
fucking
joking.
weebs, dude.
I really
Fucking
wish I was
weebs.
joking.
Yeah.
But that's what happens with these DOS attacks, right? Like Brisk was saying earlier, you can't really pinpoint it because you have all these like computers, machines, whatever the fuck, just like pinging CCP servers or whomever servers, and therefore you can't really identify it. And there's only so much you can do to protect yourself against it.
My gut would tell me more likely than not that it's somebody who was an RMTer or a big RMT type guy that got banned, and he's like, well, if I can't make money off the game, then I will fuck with you guys until you stop or let me back in or
think
whatever.
it is, though.
That's the only thing, because I can't. It's been 5 solid days. If this was somebody who was pissed off because they wanted to do some sob shit in the north, or if they wanted to stop. I mean, I've seen it, like, we've made jokes about people doing that to, like, for one fight, but this has been a solid 5 days of problems.
Well, I didn't.
So that to me is it takes a more motivation than just something happening in game.
Well, and
I was
I
thinking
can't
maybe in the
remember-
beginning, like, was this about the China stuff that we talked
Well,
about
did-
on Medic?
did
Did
Ray-
everybody
like,
get
they
pissed
did-
off about that? Or is it something like that? I just don't see it. I
Ray,
think
did
it
you
has
say
to
that this was
be-
affecting other games too? It's not just Eve. Other games are getting shit.
I heard that, but I'm
that was
looking
you,
on
Chris,
I'm
okay.
trying to find stories about DDoSes in other games.
Because
and
if this
I
is
can't find anything.
if this DDoS is covering
I mean,
other
to be
games, then
fair-
it's not focused at Eve.
they
then.
don't.
It's-
I mean, right?
it's-
I'll be honest. They don't.
It's like one of
cover
those
a lot
Lizard
this
Squad
stuff.
things where they're
No,
just
and
like
most of the times
DDoSing
when you
everyone
have
to
these
fuck on their fun.
Yeah, when you have these security events, so like for example, I audited my company on items such as this, like how do they respond to an incident such as a denial of service attack, right? And many times they just won't release a public statement, because when you acknowledge it publicly, that just lets the bad guys or the people working against you know what you know. So if they say, hey guys, we're doing a denial of service attack, like we're getting attacked, sorry about this, we think it's X, Y, or Z, or we're investigating X, Y, or Z, then suddenly it's like, oh, I know what they're looking for. Like, I'm the bad guy. Like, I know what they're looking for. So instead they just say, hey guys, we're experiencing DDoS. We're working on it. We'll keep you updated. That's all they really say, and that's, in theory, all they really should say. Maybe if it comes out however long they prosecute someone or they catch someone, they're like, yeah, fuck that guy, he was an asshole, then great, maybe they release a story, maybe not. It's not really their place.
Well, and
So-
Shock is saying that their East Coast servers for some games getting bogged down. He didn't say what game it was, so I don't know if it's
I was
something-
told about a story. I don't remember if it was through Eve or through another forum, but because my memory is bad. But I remember someone telling me a story about a large-scale DDoS that took place as a proof of concept, as a, hey, this is what my botnet is capable of, so they can make a point to sell it on the dark web.
Oh yeah.
So this is
That could be.
ultimately, this could be any number of things, any number of reasons. It could be, I really doubt it's a disgruntled Eve player, because I highly doubt this game is really worth all that effort. There's other games you could RMT or bot in. So I'm gonna maintain my stance that I think it's collateral damage. I hope it ends soon, because I have a lot of fighting to do here soon whenever goons come up, as Ronnie Hugo keeps telling me. But I mean, I don't have a whole lot of hobbies because I live in the frigid white fucking north. So it'd be really dope if they let me have Eve back, so I had
Farming
something to do.
simulator.
Yeah, you could.
Farming
Farming
Dude, you can
simulator.
get your soybeans on, Blazing.
Or I could kill myself. That's cool too.
You don't
Well, I
want to
mean,
do
that-
corn.
that's the thing,
Rain,
like,
Rain will
you
convince
know-
you to do corn. You don't want to do corn because it requires plowing every time. Every time you can't.
It's like, guys,
What? Rain doesn't
Plow
like the plowing?
those
Yeah, well, the whole game is full of
impeachment will be
innuendos. Like,
over on Wednesday.
you-
So please let me play my game again.
Like, you have to-
Can I
Yeah,
also
that's all I
point
ask.
out
Plow
the
every
Iowa
time before you plant your
caucuses
seed.
On Monday, I have gotten 3 fucking spam calls and a text today about, hey, you should vote.
What,
and support
nobody's
our
knocking on your door
no,
yet?
Like, I go, no, they have, and I told them I would call the cops the next time they did it. Because fuck that. Like, if you are in,
You're not going
like,
to go to the.
in
You're not going to go to
comparison
the.
like, say,
to
like,
the
a dude,
caucuses,
like, if
Rain?
some random, I'll go vote in the caucuses. I'm not voting for any of those fucking candidates, though. But if, like, some dude was like, hey, Rain, I'm calling you 3 times and texting you, and you told me to fuck off, so now I'm showing up at your door, I'd be like, yeah, hello, cops, can you please arrest this fucker? Because it's harassment and stalking. That is
Me and
what
my
politics
me
do
and my
to
15
compensate.
Mexican cousins are all gonna vote in the
I-
whatever the closest one to me is.
15 Mexican cousins.
Yeah, they're coming from
You're not
they're
even a
coming from
US
out of town.
citizen.
Doesn't matter.
love-
Can
fine.
still vote.
I love the memes that are like in the text message form from like the Bernie 2020. The hey, it's this person from Bernie 2020. Like, I love those memes. They're excellent.
You know, maybe this is. I was just thinking, shit. When did this stuff start? When impeachment started? Maybe this is all like Russia impeachment. They're DDoSing the United States. And that's
I
why
don't
can't
pay
get
attention
online.
to all the impeachment stuff.
Dude,
I've heard it's been a circus.
I don't think
it's
that's
not
it.
the
That's it.
United States, though. Like, what?
But still,
I can tell you
they're screwing
I
with
can
all
tell
of us
you
that are trying to log in.
from that no major government systems are affected. So if this is Russia's
Alright.
answer to if this is Russia, Iran, or China, which is the 3 biggest proponents of cyber attacks currently in the world, then they're doing a bad job at influencing the target. But they managed to fuck my spaceship game up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
good job
Jesus.
for that. I hate
It's a
Stop
that.
messing with my
specific-
spaceship games. you
It's
asshole.
specific to
Fuck
CCP
you,
or that
whoever is
server
doing
farm
this.
that runs it. If it was a regional attack, then you'd have things like debit cards go down, and
Yeah.
VoIPs would go down, and all kinds of other shit would go down. It would be in the news. It wouldn't matter what companies release what. People would be bitching on social media about all kinds of shit not working. Netflix wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
Well,
No,
remember
all
when
kinds
like
of
the
stuff.
Northeast
Yeah.
got DDoSed
I was
and, like,
what
more
about
teasing
Pornhub?
than anything,
Amazon
but it's
Pornhub
like
work?
this is still annoying the shit out of me.
Drayden, there's other websites besides Pornhub.
Yeah, but that's the best one.
Are there though?
Ever since you told
So-
me about that.
Is
Well,
there? There's
Red-
other ones?
RedTube.
What are the other ones?
uh,
So-
There's Reddit. You could go there and
No,
post.
there was one I
angry-
used-
Yo, I found a copy pasta on Reddit of every
Snapchat.
not safe for work fucking subreddit. Oh my god. Where has that been the entire time I've been on Reddit?
Every single one of them. Are you
Every
sure?
single one. I'll send it to you in November.
cool.
Oh,
Odatop
yeah,
said,
just
Odatop just
PM me.
gave us the
Just
breakdown.
post it in
Yeah,
our show
Odatop
notes.
says Pornhub works, so we're good on that. Thanks, Odatop.
Oh, thank goodness.
My
Uh,
point
reporting on
being
scene.
is don't think of like if somebody were to use a botnet of this scale to attack a government, right? Because then you have a government going after you. And I've seen personally what some of the intelligence agencies do to cyber terrorists, and it's not pretty, and you don't end up in a nice place. But think of the money you could get if you sell a botnet that can take down a company the size of CCP for 6 days.
I will say,
Right?
if you get caught, make sure it's by the FBI because then they usually will hire you.
I like
and then all you have to
Chuckles.
do is play good guy.
So Chuckles is saying, he's like, if Eve had the protection a porn site had, we wouldn't be in this situation.
I was
how
look,
long,
I-
how
way
long
more
until
money you can
CCP is
Eve
sponsored by
online.
Pornhub?
It's probably,
I've got to know.
It's probably
Just
not
like the
even
Miami
false.
Arena. The Bang Bros bought Miami Arena.
Yeah, it's probably not even false. Like, Pornhub probably spends each month on just cybersecurity that Eve makes total gross every month. I wouldn't doubt it.
It's frustrating, and there's no end in sight. You know, when is this going to stop? And the thing that drives me crazy, and I know that I understand why they are hesitant to tell us what's going on, but it's like, other than Eve's status, where like 8 hours after it happens, we'll get we understand some players are having difficulty logging in, and we are working to resolve these issues. We get nothing. So it's just, this is a bigger deal than we've seen in a long time. Maybe somebody could say something and tell us what's going on. maybe.
But
It's
I mean,
wild.
if the only thing they're gonna say is that like we're still working on it and we hope for the best, like, is that what you want to hear? Like,
I would just like to hear some acknowledgement that they recognize that this is a big deal and they're doing their best. I mean, that's.
I
I
agree.
think
I
that
don't know.
given that there's
100%.
15,000 people online, they realize that it's a bigger deal.
Well,
But-
I would like to think so, but the fact that, I mean, look, I'm not seeing it reflected in any of their social media posting or any of the areas that I'm not seeing any dev blogs or nothing talking.
You follow at Eve_status?
Yeah, that's
I'm
what he's
checking-
talking about.
I'm going to see
He
right
said
now when the last
aside
one it
from
was.
Eve's status, that doesn't stop CCP from pushing out the from pushing the packs. That hasn't stopped them from posting like things are normal on Facebook. The only thing you can get to really acknowledge, if you ignore Reddit, which is honestly a cesspit anyway, the only thing that you can find officially from CCP that acknowledges that the DDoS is happening is Eve's status. Like that's it.
The last
That's
the,
what
and
they
the last
say.
time
That's
the
what they
last
say.
time
That's
that
what that
status was
account
updated
is
was
for.
10 hours ago, saying chat should have been restored for most players. However, there still may be instances of people unable to use chat properly. Our engineers continue to work with our partners to restore services.
Well, how
That was
often
10
do you
hours
want
ago.
an update if nothing changes?
I'll tell you right now, the chat's still fucked up because I'm
Right.
getting it from folks in
Right.
Discord literally right now as we speak.
How often do
So-
you want to tweet?
At
So-
least once a day.
That was
I
10
mean-
hours ago.
Can I ask a millennial question?
That was about chat. That's not about the DDoS.
So
Last time they
millennial
said
question.
we are seeing an increased number of successful logins, but the issues are still preventing many players from getting in. We continue working on improving the situation for those affected. That was yesterday. That was January 30th.
But
All right,
nothing
so
has changed.
in my professional life, I've had to deal with situations where we have to explain to customers things that are happening on, like, you know, a basis that is fairly large. And there is a balance between saying this is what's happening and also just once you start telling people every 5 hours that shit is still fucked up, eventually people get shitty about that too, so you have to find the inside line that really works. And maybe if shit's still broken after 12 hours, then maybe 12 hours is the time to say, yeah, it's still busted. You don't want to do it every like 2 hours.
Tetzel says follow CCP Explorer on Twitter, and then he linked it. Drayden, could you relink that?
Did you
I
put it
think
in CC?
CCP. No, it should be on the Twitch chat.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cecil.
DM it
But,
to
um,
Drayden if you can't do it.
Yeah, but apparently I think I
Yeah.
know I've seen CCP
Or just
Explorer.
at me in the chat if you want to post a link, and then I'll give you permissions. Because the bot automatic, if you try to post a link in chat and you're not a sub, it automatically times you out for 10 seconds. So if you have a link that's relevant, at me, and then that'll get my attention, and I can give you permissions to link it.
So, millennial question. Do you, Brisk, or anyone else, do you guys think CCP will reimburse in any way for the DOS or the chat failures?
No.
I would be very surprised if they do, because this is not, I mean, as I said before, you know, from a legal term, I would call this a force majeure. This is not anything that they did. This is an
It also
outside
encourages
attack on
people
their
to
stuff.
continue to do shitty stuff in order to get free stuff.
I'd say
Okay.
if you acknowledge that this was a major event on their part, this is just an open and so say that now I have a botnet that I want to sell on dark web. Who do I pick? Do I pick a company that manages to mitigate it without saying anything and makes it look like things are normal, or someone who manages to reward their players after six hours of what is essentially they consider downtime? I mean, I'd just DDoS CCP and make my money.
Right. So I mean that's the hard part. Like I feel like I don't want to criticize them for not being more upfront, because I understand what they're concerned about. If they're upfront about it and they explain what's going on in any level of detail, they are providing the guy that's doing this or the people that are doing this, they get to go tout that, hey, look, we're fucking with the game, and they even admitted it, that type of stuff. And it, whatever the reason behind it could be, that might exacerbate them and make them angry and make them want to keep doing it longer. So I don't know. I see that side of it. But I mean, damn, it's been 5 fucking days and people still can't log in, and we don't have a lot of detail. If this is more than just Eve, then tell us that. I mean, I think that would be important. So we know, all right, look, that way we don't have to have, Bunny and I have the conversation. Is this collateral damage? Are they targeting the game, or is it because of other stuff's happening? And that leads to speculation. And since we know that there's stuff going on in the world, We know we've got the coronavirus stuff in China. We know we've got the Iran stuff that happened a month ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We know that there's Brexit happening right now. There's stuff happening that theoretically might motivate somebody to want to do something like this. But it's not about Eve. So are we just collateral? I would like to know whether we're collateral damage or if this is targeted to us, and if they can tell. Maybe they can't tell, and even then, so we can't tell what this is about. That would be fair to say. But I mean, I would at least like to know, if I can't log into the game that I want to play on a daily basis, at least I have some better idea as to why. And maybe they don't need to do it every 6 hours, if it happens once a day, or like one random day, but it's been a fucking week. So we need something more than I think we need something more than what we've been given. Just out of good faith. Just tell us something. But I understand why they don't want to do it.
One day a DDoS on Eve is one thing, because 12 hours is a long time considering what you can accomplish in 12 hours in this game. But 6 full days, I would be very curious as to what all happened days, because I can think of a couple things that we've accomplished that would have been impeded maybe with more people opposing us for sure. But that's just 2 regions, you know what I mean? What else has happened in the time that we haven't been able to log in, reliably? That's what I'm curious about.
I'll be bluntly honest, and don't take this the wrong way, but does anybody really give that much of a shit about fucking Tenal that they would spend a week of DDoSing? It's not that good a space.
I don't think anyone gives a shit about Eve
I'm just talking about.
I'm just talking about like anything to do with any of the wars in game.
I'm just talking about from how do you on the back end of this, the DDoS ends and servers return to normal. What happens after that, right? You can't just ignore all the things that happen in 6 days. You know what I mean? 6 days. Anybody who's played this game knows 6 days in terms of the game is a long fucking time. It's long enough that if you don't have an alliance that covers all the time zones, you're missing out. Like, I'd be very curious to see what the response is to that. I mean, I highly doubt they roll any of the major changes back, but like, I'd be curious. Kill a conversation.
Awkward silence.
I mean, no, like I think we all agree. Like what the fuck are you able to do, right? Like half the time players can't log in to attack, half the time players can't log in to defend.
I have managed to get in. I've managed to get in the servers 3 times over the course of this show, and I have not managed to stay logged in the game more than 5 minutes each time.
Right.
This is
so
10:48 on a Friday.
That to me indicates that it's not the game in general, because for the 3 hours that I've been here, I've been logged in with 5 accounts and I've had 0 problems. So
same. I've been logged in with 3 accounts and I've had no problems. Yeah.
That tells me. All right, so Dom, where are you?
In Iowa.
Iowa.
All right, so you're in Iowa, and obviously November's in Australia.
No, he's
in
Seattle.
He's in Seattle.
I'm
You're in
West
Seattle?
Coast USA.
Yeah. He's lived in Seattle for what, 6 years?
But he's still
That
West
made me
Coast.
feel bad. I thought you were.
Brisk,
you're
the
fucking
East Coast though. Like
I don't
have any of the issues really.
Well,
Then
so
all
I
right, there you go. All right, so this is it, guys. This is all about me.
I think somewhere on the East Coast near Rhode Island having the same problem. He can't get in. He gets in and gets kicked out.
Yeah. So
They're
I can
targeting
get in.
me
It takes.
specifically. This is
I think so.
it's rotating around,
playing my game.
There were some complaints
yeah.
yesterday about certain DDoS mitigation services being a little too aggressive and not allowing people to log in. Those were coming mostly from people on the West Coast. Like I think Dunk had a tweet about it.
The West Coast and China, there was a ping from Rage Regiment telling them to switch their VPNs because there's 1 or 2 that has been flagged as known as or flagged from the DDoS mitigation as a targeted whatever.
See, the problem that I have is that I live like half an hour from all of the major East Coast server farms in the United States.
Right.
They're all in like Reston and Loudoun County, Virginia, and I'm like half an hour from there.
So if the DDoS mitigation services are trying to filter services from the East Coast US, you guys are going to have a rough.
Yeah,
you guys are going to have a bad time.
It's not just East Coast. Arian Rod, he's saying that he's been logged in the whole show, but he's had no chat server the whole time.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I've been logged in.
So, I don't think anybody
right
has
now.
chat
He said he's
service.
West Coast, so.
I'm logged in right
I'm in the-
now. I have chat and everything, and it's okay. But I'll tell you right now, if it does not kick me in the next 3 minutes, I will be surprised.
That's
Because
what
I
I'm
have not
thinking.
managed to
Is
stay in
it's
longer than 5 minutes at a time.
I think it's a
for-
regional thing. I think it's directed at the East Coast of the United States and in London in the EU type areas.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our Euros have said that they have a lot of problems. Whereas, like, don't get me wrong, I have to do the stupid like you can't be connected. So I click the connect button on the screen and then it'll connect me. But like I don't get
Yeah.
kicked out, and I'm in North Dakota. Which, if anybody wastes any money whatsoever on DDoSing North America, you're fucking cruel because there's nothing else to do here besides
You
the
mean
internet.
North Dakota?
Did I say North America?
You said North
Yeah.
America, yeah.
Yeah, I meant
Yeah,
North
but
Dakota.
I- you know
didn't
what?
realize
I would
there
there
was
ain't
North-
shit
North
here.
Dakota.
We know where the nukes are.
You got
I
Fargo,
mean, that's what I
man. You
would
guys
do,
had that
right?
one movie and stuff.
I didn't know that there was internet in North Dakota. That's weird.
It's really surprising, really it is, because there's like all of 5 people and they all come over to use my internet. It's wild.
Yeah.
But we got
I
family
get- I
in
just get
Aberdeen, South
frustrated
Dakota, which
because
is on the
nor-
border, so,
normally-
the area.
Being on the East Coast and being this close to all the server farms and like the Silicon Valley of the East Coast is a good thing because it means that my ping and my, when I do like my server test, my server speed shit, I always blow everybody away with how fast my internet is. But I guess now it's not good because we're getting hit, so it's annoying the shit out of me. But anyway,
Yep, it's honestly pretty bad. I'd be curious. I think this is the first time I can remember in the last 11 years of playing this game that that the server has been so fucked up that this is like living through UALX and an X47 and B-R
and 9TAC-P and all of them.
all of
Yeah,
that. I've
right?
been on grid with all of those fights, and I can tell you it's still more reliable than this. Like,
Yeah.
At least we're logged in. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can
I
log
mean,
back
like,
and you like
everything
you
went
get
super
it,
slow,
so you know
and
where it's going to hang.
It might take 3 hours for your warp command to go through,
Right.
but it did go through.
it's this thing is the first time I can honestly remember that it's been this bad. I'd be
I mean,
curious.
I cannot remember it being this bad ever before, and I've played since.
I've never seen it go on
2006.
so long. I've seen the servers have issues with DDoSes. I think at least like 2 or 3 other times, but
I've seen a bunch of DDoS.
Like we've said
I mean,
before,
there's
it's
been
been
at least
for
1 or 2 a
it's
year.
usually been by a few
forever.
hours, and
But it,
there was
never lasts more than
there was
6
a
hours.
I think there was a couple that were like most of a day. Because there was, I think in my mind there's a couple that stood out. I can't point out what time. I remember that there were a couple times where I was.
I
Gonna
remember
go in,
one.
I was going to go in and get on, and I couldn't get on because and we basically stood all of our fleets down. I think one of them was back when we were in PNG, when we were like under Solar Fleet's wing, and that might actually be the only one I can think of. I don't know if there was a second one. And that's because I know there was one.
Tetzel says he's in France and he can't log in. I wish I was in France and couldn't log in. Because at least if I was in France and I couldn't log in, there'd be something to do. So there you go. I love France.
So apparently there's a
Jamais
map
français.
that shows active DDoS attacks.
Oh yeah, hang on.
Oh
I
yeah,
can
there
link
was
it.
someone that
And it's
They
unbanned
brought
it.
bad
Hugo
into
per-
the-
Oh, you did.
yeah, I
It's
did.
bad
I,
in the United States right now. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's hitting us pretty nasty. Like that's why I'm thinking it's weird, because I would think that if there was having problems with if it was
Well, I'll
problems
link-
with
I'll
the
link
East
this into
servers, it
the,
would be
uh,
London, but it's not. It's
The
hitting
chat.
the East
It's
US.
it unfortunately doesn't break it down by East Coast and West Coast, but wow. This is like literally I'm looking at all the connections coming in and it's not a bulk from one. So like usually whenever you have a major attack from a sovereign nation, don't you usually see attacks from that chunk? Like I'm looking at all these dotty lines that are flying
Whoa!
across the map.
They're coming
and
from
it's-
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
they're
All
all
of
hitting
Eastern
like,
Europe and
what are they
everywhere
hitting?
else.
Is that's not Chicago? Is it? That's
No, I
It's
don't.
hitting
So
the
I don't think
US in
this map.
general.
Yeah, I don't think this map breaks it down.
It doesn't break it down.
I thought it was breaking it down into like position. I was like, what? That's not even
You
Chicago.
can-
That's what are they
you can
hitting?
narrow
Lincoln,
it down,
Nebraska.
though.
They're all, like Lincoln is fucked.
God forbid they DDoS Nebraska. I'm pretty
God
sure the 3
damn,
people
or
who
is
want
that-
the internet there are
That might
pissed.
be that might be
Right.
Des Moines, but I don't know. It's one of the.
Des Moines.
God, that is.
Jay
I'm going
Des
to
Moines.
ignore you
wild.
guys.
All right,
Oh, Des
so
Moines.
I refuse to
so we've
acknowledge
talked
that
about
right now.
the DDoS. I have a very important question for Rain. Who are you going to caucus for on Tuesday or on
Bernie.
Monday?
Same dude I caucused for 4 years ago,
You're
Bernie.
caucusing for your
I'm
Bernie bro.
I'm caucusing for Daddy, so.
You,
Rain is a Bernie bro.
Because you can't call him Daddy, because he's like Grandpa, so it's Daddy.
he's like great grandpa. He's not even gonna make it to like the 2020 election.
Look,
So-
neither are and like any of these boomers, but I gotta vote for one, so.
Yeah,
There are non-boomers running.
I'm not a person to listen to for political advice because I don't.
You could
know
vote for
any.
Pete Buttigieg. He's not a boomer.
I'm voting for Keanu Reeves.
That's true.
Wait a
Amy
minute, is he
Klobuchar's
running?
not a
Can
boomer.
you-
Oh, you're right.
No, but you
Can
can
you do
write in
write-ins?
anyone.
Yeah, you
I don't
can't.
know how the
well, you
American
can't do
elections work.
Not in the So right. So have you guys know? Do you know how Democratic caucus
Democratic.
works?
I know how the
I can't
caucuses work,
talk.
but you should explain it for
I
us.
know
as
All
this
right.
heathens.
So this is how it was last time. So I will note that this was like I believe this was the first Democratic caucus I went to.
It did
you
change
sh-
this year, just so you know. There are new rules. I just heard other.
Wait, Rain, you got muted somehow.
What?
Oh, okay, now we can
Oh,
hear
okay,
you.
okay.
Still
So
watching
last
this
year I
DDoS
showed
map
up,
right now.
like presented ID proof, like my voter, whatever the fuck, like quote unquote signed in, validated everything, and then they like put you all in chairs, so you're all just like kind of hanging out, talking, whatever. This was like I want to say it was either at my local church or school, which is very common in Iowa because there's no other public place that has a big enough space. And then they're like, okay, everyone who's voting for X candidate, come stand over here. Everyone who's voting for Y candidate, come stand over here. Z candidate, come stand over here. And so you all kind of like fumble around and congregate. And then, no joke, they literally have a person count. They have like some like, it's usually like a volunteer, so it's usually some old lady fucking counting people.
Do you trust
And
their
then-
counts?
Man,
yeah.
your American
It's
voting systems
like-
are so fucking
it's
wild.
it's hilarious, right?
Oh
So this
man,
is-
you haven't.
but
She
this is
hasn't
how
even
they
got
did
to
it.
how Florida manages to fuck this up every
Yeah,
year for the
I'll
last
show
100
you-
Dude,
years.
shit is amazing, dude.
Australia just
So-
votes
no,
on
no,
like
so
yeah,
this is
nah, or
this
nah,
is
yeah.
not voting. This is not
You vote
voting for
on
election.
whether
This
or
is
not you're
caucus.
on fire.
This is caucus.
Basically.
So this is different. This is caucus. So last year it was Hillary and Bernie, which was like no surprise if you ever paid attention to the last ones. So they split us up, and then they said, okay, for all the random individuals, independents, they said pick one, and then we had to make our cases to go and talk to them, and be like, hey, come join our side, or whatever, because it was like neck and neck. And then whoever won said, okay, so I think last year my group had Hillary won. So they said, okay, so for this demographic, for people who show up to vote here, we're saying Hillary won. And then they pooled all those quote unquote counts and
Oh
sent
yeah,
them
I'm
in.
muting that.
And
That's
so
gonna
so
get
no
muted.
joke. So a lot of
Which
times
one?
they
You know what one?
what?
The Open Comms Discord.
There's
I'm
a new
sorry.
Discord channel.
I did not mean to
Oh,
interrupt.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. But yeah, so that's how they did it. As compared to the Republican caucuses, which is where you write the
Oh, I
person
see.
down, put it in a hat, and then they just count it, and then that's all. That's it. Once you write it, it's permanent. So that's literally the difference, and like I find it to be hilariously fun. I just hate all the bullshit leading up to it. But I'm also like I would call myself a semi-educated like voter. Like I mean I know who I'm caucusing for. I know where they stand on things. But I also like so that like when I go in like so all these people tweeting me and telling me who to vote for, I'm like fuck off. Like I don't want to talk to you. I like surveys though. They always call me about surveys. And then they ask me about candidates I've literally never heard of, and I'm like, can you not do that shit?
I've been every year since I've been conscious enough of the election to know any better. Every year they're like, Florida's a swing state. I'm like, God damn, why? Why are we a swing state? Because I guarantee you, for the last 4 to 25 elections, we fuck it up. Why? who
Hey, I'm just
continues to
happy
let us
Virginia's
vote?
not a swing state anymore, so I don't have to worry about everybody spending a
Who?
bunch of money down
I
here. This is
cannot
great.
believe the
Nobody
United
cares
States as
anymore.
a whole decided, like, you know who we should let decide who the president is? Florida. That's a great idea. Oh my
Well,
god.
there's very few states that most of the states are always one way or the other, and they're pretty predictable. There's a few that are back and forth each year, but I think like Idaho. Idaho has voted Republican since before I was born, and I guarantee they will vote Republican as far into the future that the Republican Party exists. Doesn't even matter how bad or good the candidate is. Does not matter. Those two, the 2 votes that Idaho gets will always go. Idaho will always be a red state. Same with like Montana, Wyoming, all those areas are guaranteed. So those are basically in the bag votes. And there's only Brisk knows. Brisk, what are the states that are like now swing states? Does that mean that like the votes they actually separate their
No.
votes.
That means,
What-
that means
They're just the
there
ones
are-
that
what it
can
means
switch
is
Not
back
that
and
there,
forth.
predominantly one
there
or
are
the other.
some states where
California always votes Democratic, so no
Right.
matter what
Exactly.
people vote, they're voting Democratic. Whereas like places
That's-
like Florida, Iowa, and some various
Florida-
swing
Flor-
states, they
Florida-
flip back and forth.
So, all right. So, Florida, Missouri, Iowa, sometimes Indiana, sometimes Michigan, but not usually. Ohio is the other big one. New Mexico, Arizona. These are the states that tend to. I mean, sometimes Virginia, sometimes North Carolina. These are the states that traditionally it's possible for either party to win them. It depends on the year. They're not always set. New York, California, always going to go Democrat. Idaho, and I would have said Texas, but it's not as much anymore. But Idaho, Nebraska, Montana, they're always going to go Republican. So the question is, so it ends up you have like these areas where you can guarantee they're going to be one party or the other, and then you're arguing over the big states and how you spend your money in those areas. So that's what ends up being the swing states. But I will say this: I ran into Elizabeth Warren the other day. So she was in D.C. and I was in the same building as her. So I said hi, but I haven't seen Bernie in a while. Well, every time I see Bernie, and I was telling this in the chat, every time I see Bernie, he looks like Doc Brown from.
Can you get
Back
a
to the
selfie
Future.
with him? Like, can you?
No, he always looks like he is. His hair is always crazy, and he's always
Yeah,
walking
get a
fast.
selfie. Get a
That's
selfie.
Always
That's the
walking
standard.
fast. I don't do
Be
that.
like,
I don't do
"Why
that
is
shit.
Briss,
I work with these
Briss,
people.
It's
crazy hair is the
I don't
standard.
do- I don't
for
do
world
that shit
leaders
with
these
these people.
days. It's the standard.
It,
Look at
it
Trump.
just,
look
it
at
just
look
is
at
weird.
Boris.
When do I think Texas is going to turn blue? It depends. Like I could see
Will
it
it?
potentially within the next 4 years or so, getting some kind of a
Democratic?
Democrat elected statewide.
Ran Republican.
I would,
Yeah.
and frankly, I
Okay.
would like to
I'm
see
usually
it.
independent. I just like.
I would
voting
like
for
to see
caucuses.
Ted Cruz lose. That would be great. I
Yeah,
don't,
that's
I don't want
my
John
thing, like,
Cornyn to
I
lose. like
always
John
Why
tend
would
Cornyn.
to-
you
I don't want
vote
Ted.
against the
I
Zodiac?
tend to more agree with the independent parties. The shitty thing is
Why
they'll
wouldn't
never
you
fucking win.
vote
They'll
against
never
the
win.
Zodiac Killer?
Like most of the
I
time,
mean,
it's like
yeah,
the Republicans
obviously,
Who would
are
you
too
prefer
far.
over
The
Ted
Republicans are too
Cruz?
far right. The Democrats are too far left for me. I like to straddle the middle because I'm like, you guys have some good points here and you guys have some good points here, but you're all too fucking like radical one side or the other. You don't come into the middle and compromise. So I like independent parties, but they never win. They'll never win. And so my vote
Except for one
sucks.
state. One
My vote
state
sucks.
always votes
Rhode Island.
independent.
Like what was
Rhode
it?
Island.
Ross,
No, not Rhode
Ross
Island, it's
Perot.
Vermont.
Ross Perot had
Vermont
the best
every
chance
single
ever.
year.
Vermont.
Well,
That's
they
what
have
Bernie's
to
from.
because
And he had like
Bernie's an
what,
independent.
10% of the
Yeah.
popular vote, and it was like the best independent voter or candidate they've ever had.
Bernie's just like, I just want everyone to be taken care of. Why is that so hard to ask?
Because
And
it's
everyone's like,
expensive.
"Bro, you're having
Because
a
you
heart
can't take
attack."
care of people without it being expensive.
Look,
Which
I
is
will
what-
pay
is- which will
90%
always
of my
be-
income in
That's
taxes
true.
if it means
That's
You
everyone's
will,
taken care of.
yes. You will, but you will never be able to sell the entirety of a country
I know,
on the fact
because,
that they
because a
will.
lot of people don't like caring about other people. They don't care if other people live. I get that. I, get
I
that.
mean, I come from a country where like that kind of works, I guess.
Oh, you missed
There's this
it.
dude.
You missed
There's
it,
this
November.
dude who's
come
been
from a
roasting
country
us
that
this
has
entire
pillars,
time about.
spires, and fire.
I wanted the.
I mean,
come,
yeah, my
I
whole
come from a
country's
land
on
down,
fire,
land
but
down
look.
under.
Ah, dude.
Oh, you missed it,
alright.
dude. Okay. Oh, hey, we're over time. God damn it! Wow,
There's,
this
a
shit
way
went
over
dude,
time.
there's a
fast.
dude in chat that's calling me an idiot because I don't know what I'm talking about apparently.
No,
But I
we're
can.
all
What?
idiots. So fuck him.
I don't know.
He's an
I don't.
idiot
This
too.
this fucking victorious OB guy, whatever.
Oh, it's
But,
Oh, no,
like-
he's been baiting the whole time.
But,
Just
like,
ignore him.
I wasn't really talking about Florida being a swing state. I was just talking about Florida just fucking up elections. Period. Because
Florida
it doesn't
is
matter.
a swing state. Florida
It is
is
a-
a swing
no, you're
state.
right.
There-
I 100%
It's possible
agree.
for Democrats to win Florida. It's possible for Republicans
Yeah.
to win Florida.
What
What
you're right.
states
It
are
happens.
slide states?
You have to spend a lot of money in Florida. Everybody spends a lot of money in Florida. But I mean,
That's
look,
just because during
nobody thought
caucus season,
Pennsylvania
it's
was going to be a
winter,
swing state. Nobody
and
thought
it's
Michigan and Wisconsin
fucking
were going to be swing states.
Summer
They
in
were.
Florida all the time, so that's
Yeah,
why
weird.
everyone wants to care about Florida.
I
Right.
spent a lot of time in Florida.
I'm just
My
saying,
in-laws are in Florida.
like,
We're
every-
down there all the time.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do a shot for the. Yeah, we're over time, so we gotta cut it. But I mean, we can continue this on after show.
After show
Yes.
bomb tag. Let's do this.
After
Let's
show.
do it. Oh shit, bomb. We can do some bomb tag.
Wait.
So a shot to
Oh
the
shit.
end of
I did-
impeachment.
I hope,
State of the Union next Tuesday, and
Impeachment
then Reign
caucuses,
getting to caucus on
Brexit.
Monday.
here's
We have
here's
lots of
here's
and
a
Brexit
shot.
today, so there you
Since
go.
I don't ever actually
Lots of
get to pick the
Hashtag
shots,
fuck politics.
here's
Yeah.
a shot that this DDoS ends this weekend, and then we all get to
Boom.
get to go back
God,
to
that would
shooting
be
each
great.
other
I
in the
would love it if
face
that were true.
Monday
Yes, please.
through next Friday. I
Please.
hope
Fucking
the next
yeah,
Friday
dude.
Can I just
I get
play
to
my
come
game,
back on
please?
the show and talk to y'all about the awesome things we did in this game, shooting goons in the
Instead
face.
of the
I just want
awesome
to play
things
my
we wish
game,
we did.
please, please.
All right. Bye. We're out.
I guess they never miss, huh?